Tunica, Memphis, and WPGF-LP, Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
The Tigers reclaim their crown by crushing Alabama.
Brady under center, victory formation, takes the snap, falls to an E, and that'll do it. The New England Patriots have won.
And Virginia with the all-time turnaround title.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good.
Welcome in. Welcome one, welcome all. Greg and Eli not in today. Greg will be sideline reporting for the Tigers today. He'll join us at 10:30. Gabe Kuhn alongside Drew Barrett this morning. Beautiful Black Friday. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving out there. I know I did. Got to chow down a little turkey, a little ham, deviled eggs. You know, all the good stuff.
I love ham, but it's not really a Thanksgiving thing for me.
Okay, then what is it?
It's all about the turkey. It's got to be all about the turkey. And before we start this about the whole Thanksgiving side dishes debate, you hear it all the time.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, if you do not like green bean casserole,
I'm a fan. You'll do what? What are you gonna do?
I will have some disrespect to you.
Okay.
Because
are you a yams guy? You like sweet potatoes?
I mean, yeah, I like them. They're not one of my favorite side dishes. I'm more of just a regular mashed potato and gravy guy, green bean casserole, peas type of person.
I'm the new school, like mac and cheese.
I love mac and
that.
cheese.
Like you can bring anything. Any side dish is good with me.
Here's the side dish that I saw that a couple
stuffing,
people had that I need to make sure that my family brings next year. I saw a couple people eating fried okra, and I love fried okra. That's one of my favorite side dishes of all time. And I need if that can be included in my Thanksgiving meal, it'll make me a 10 times happier man, because any day that I eat fried okra makes me happy.
Man, see, like, maybe hot take here. I don't think okra tastes like anything. I don't think
it tastes like okra.
Like, if you fry it, it's good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I like okra anyway.
Okra's fried. It's fried stuff. But, like, okra by itself is just not very appealing.
So I'm guessing you're not a pickled okra fan.
No.
You like not even.
I've never had pickled okra.
Oh,
actually.
dude! Next time you're at a salad bar, all right? There's normally some right there at the salad bar. Pick you up 1 or 2 pickled okra. Just eat it. Basically, it's whole, just pickled, okra.
Yeah.
And just crunch on it. Delicious.
Yeah, but like I said, Eli Savoie is in New York right now. Got to catch the Tigers last night, I believe, and saw a just furious comeback by the Ole Miss Rebels the other night. 74-72. They ended up beating Penn State. A really good comeback.
It's amazing, and you kind of can copy and paste exactly what happened in that Ole Miss Memphis game to what happened in the Ole Miss Penn State game, other than the fact that they were able to come down the stretch and ultimately win. I mean, they were down by, I believe, 19 with 12 minutes left to go in the game, and were able to come back. Just a phenomenal job down there in Oxford by the Ole Miss Rebels basketball team. And that's a really good team. I mean,
solid,
I
very
think
solid.
Anybody who kind of had some ifs about what Kermit Davis was going to have down there in Ole Miss, you're thinking the other way, because this is a good team. And if you're a Memphis fan out there right now, especially with that one loss to Oregon, good win last night or yesterday against North Carolina State, also in Brooklyn, are the Tigers. So you want to start rooting for Ole Miss, because the more that they win, the better you look.
Yeah, absolutely. The Tigers handled business 83-78 in New York as well in Barclays Center against NC State. Greg Gaston, though, will not be here because he has to do some sideline reporting for the Tigers. We're going to get to him at 10:30. I'll give you a little rundown here. At 11 o'clock, we're having my brother.
Yes.
My brother.
And
the co-host of the Todd Brommelkamp show with Alex Kuhn in Iowa. He works.
I'm going to let
ESPN
you keep saying that name because last time we had
Todd
him on, I butchered it so bad.
Brommelkamp. There we go. Yes.
Now, if I try to say it with him sitting there, I'll
say it. I'll handle all that. You don't even have to worry about it this time. But he'll be in studio to talk college football with us. We have a podcast that we do, TKT podcast.
Very good podcast
that we put out.
Recommend it.
Why, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I'm a regular listener.
11:30, we're going to have John Varlas in here to talk some high school football. And then 12:30, talking a little Grizz with our guy over at The Athletic, Omari Sankofa. But yesterday, did you get to catch some football, Drew?
Yeah, I did. I did get to catch the football. Watched most of the morning game between the Lions and the Bears. And, man, first thing, I mean, Ant, what a game for Anthony Miller, especially on that last drive. I think he had 4 catches for 78 yards on that one drive, 140 yards total for 9 catches. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to find the end zone on any of them. But, I mean, and all of those catches there on that final drive were phenomenal. I mean, especially that one down the sideline, gets him about at the 2-yard line, and guy hooks his arm and still is able to hold on to it.
CJ's got something to say. Oh, no. We got a Lions.
The Lions let Anthony Miller beat them.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
But I'll get to this here. Bears, of course, handle business.
Zach, don't let him talk on the mic.
Bears, of course, handle business in Detroit 24-20. And it was an uphill battle for the Bears the whole time because Mitch Trubisky is it's the same story. It's the same story every week.
He's so awful.
You have to get better QB play if you're the Bears, if you want to win games and be as good as possible. They have weapons. And Anthony Miller, like you alluded to, 9 receptions, 140 yards on 13 targets. Maybe get him involved more.
Yeah.
This is a guy who last year, coming out, had an incredible rookie year, led the team in touchdowns receiving. I mean, this guy clearly has taken a hit with Mitch Trubisky's just awful play. But it was good to see him get back out there and them actually try to use him, right?
Yeah, it was because we've seen stretches throughout this season and throughout the previous season with Anthony Miller where it seems like one game, it's all they're going after. They're going after Ant. He's hot. He's going to get 5 to 10 targets. And then the next week, one throw.
No, it's
maybe
this year
0 throws. I mean,
this year's been miserable.
He's obviously a great weapon for the Bears. Why is he not always being used? It seems like they kind of flip flop. I think Robinson has kind of been that consistent receiver that they're always going after this year. He obviously had 8 catches and a touchdown yesterday in Detroit, but they've got to use their weapons more consistently, not floating them around like they have.
It has to do with Mitch Trubisky.
It does.
Until they get a good quarterback in there or maybe Mitch Trubisky might come along. I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibilities. I think at this point it's probably a long shot. But until he figures it out or they get another quarterback, you're going to see these guys continue to get misused. This year, Anthony Miller, 38 catches, 489 yards. That's more than I even thought. No TDs, though.
No.
So, I mean, this is a guy who I saw on PFF. This is the most interesting stat. He averages the 5th most yards of separation per route in the NFL, 3.63 yards. So he's getting separation consistently, but he doesn't have a quarterback.
And that's a problem. And Bears fans, I mean, obviously be happy with the win. Try not to complain too much because obviously Mitch Trubisky did do enough to win against a Lions team that is down their starting quarterback. And great job by Blau yesterday. I mean,
Blau,
sorry.
A little short guy, man.
Yeah, 22 and 38. He started off the game super hot. I mean, deep bomb down the field to get the Lions up 7-0.
This guy, he is not physically gifted. He is 5'10", and his arm's sort of loopy, but he had some game. He came out firing. I'll give him his credit.
I mean, you can see the guy can play.
Yeah. He can play at Purdue. I saw him at Purdue. Did a really good job over there with Rondale Moore as a freshman. Rondale Moore, of course, got hurt this year. Purdue's main wide receiver. He'll be a nice NFL draft pick. But other than that, We had the Saints and the Falcons, 26 Saints, Falcons 18. Not much really to break down. There was an onside. I finally saw an onside kick get recovered.
Yeah, I mean
Falcons had a chance to come back at the end.
Only the third one this year an onside kick was actually worked. So, and I think it's probably been I was listening to Westwood One last Sunday, and that the Eagles were attempting an onside kick, and they were saying, I think it was at the time, it was only they were like 2 of like 35 at the time. Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to you for actually being able to get it done.
Yeah, but the Saints, man, I really like them. They're a really good team. They're 10-2 at this moment. Their offense just doesn't look all that good. The bright spot, the lone bright spot yesterday was Taysom Hill, and he's just so fun to watch, man. 1 TD rushing, 1 TD passing or receiving. Mm-hmm. He does it all for that team. They put him in at quarterback sometimes.
He's the ultimate switchblade.
It's crazy because
Swiss Army knife, man.
They put him in at so many different positions per game, and he'll play, right there at about 30% of the snaps, and he'll get 2 at running back, 2 at tight end, 2 at slot receiver, 2 at outside receiver. Like, he does so much for that team. But that New Orleans offense, I think Drew Brees, I hate to say it, man, I think he's getting older. I think he's aging.
It hasn't looked the same since he's came back. And I don't know if it really does still have to do with his hand not feeling right or what it is. Maybe it is finally, Father Time is undefeated, finally catching up with an aging Drew Brees. But it just hasn't looked the same. Yeah, they're 10-2. I think they've only lost 1 game since he's came back. But it's just not the same flair that it used to be when you watched a New Orleans Saints game.
I mean, he didn't even throw for 200 yards yesterday. That's an interesting fact about that. And you're playing the Falcons defense, who had a couple good weeks here recently, but has been very abysmal the rest of the year. But yeah, I see that, and I see Drew Brees, and I think he's still a good player, but at the same time, at least the Saints aren't fakers like the next game we're about to talk about. And I really have to get this. Cowboys fans, I'm sorry for what I'm about to tell you. And I think you might know, though. Bills beat the Cowboys 26-15. Mm-hmm. Cowboys aren't contenders. Why are we kidding ourselves? Why do we have to keep doing this? I don't care if they're at the top of the NFC East. I don't. They're 6-6. I do not care. The Eagles and them might win, and I think they're both mediocre.
I do too.
I'll tell you their wins right now. They've beat the Giants twice. That's one of the bottom 5 teams in the league. Lions with Jeff Driscoll. That's a bottom 5 team if we're talking. Redskins.
Bad team.
Dolphins.
Bad team.
Now here's their best win, and I just talked about them being mediocre. The Eagles. They beat the Eagles. Mm-hmm. But I think they're 5-6.
And the Eagles aren't much to really ride home about. I mean, it's a middle of the pack team.
The combined record of the teams they've beat is 14-41.
Yeah, that's really bad.
I look, there's a very clear issue, okay? And it has nothing to do with talent. They have Ezekiel Elliott. They have Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott gets way too much, catches way too much flack. It's sort of the Brady White type of thing in the fact that I think he's a better quarterback than he's led on to believe, or than people lead him on to be. But Jason Garrett's just, I can't see it. Like, he's been so average there with a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And it's just, I can't give him any more excuses, because eventually Jerry Jones is going to have to make a decision. Do you want to go win a Super Bowl? And I think there's reports out there that he's going to retain Jason Garrett through the end of the season, and if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, he'll let him go. I don't buy it.
Doesn't win a Super Bowl.
That's what the reports that have been going around saying.
6-6, and you think
right?
The guy's got to win a Super Bowl to keep his job? Well, guess what? He's not going to keep his job, because there's no way the Dallas Cowboys are winning the Super Bowl or even getting into a NFC championship.
Well, mind you, at the beginning of the year, when the Cowboys was forming the roster, like, the aspirations was Super Bowl, because you brought in
you have talent.
You have plenty of
talent. You kept all this ingrown talent in. You signed all your guys. You add in a couple of veterans. You thought, hey, like, the way the schedule sets up at the beginning of the year, then we got, big teams coming down the stretch. Like, it could be Cowboys being a Super Bowl favorite, but things haven't broken their way all season long.
I think you look at Kellen Moore, who's been I think is a good offensive mind, it's sort of the boy wonder type thing. I think Jason Garrett just has his hands all over that offense, and Dak Prescott can't get into a flow. and they just don't look good enough.
No.
They have the talent. That O-line's probably aging a little bit. They spent a lot of money on them. Defensively, they've drafted incredibly.
Yeah.
But you can't lose that game to the Bills, because if you look at the Bills, they're in my opinion, they're one of the least scary 9-3 teams you'll ever see.
Yeah, and the fact that they are 9-3 right now has been a miracle. But you hit it right on the head. Here's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. Too hands-on. You have Jason Garrett being too hands-on, and you have Jerry Jones being too hands-on. And I think that's
There's
where
a love fest between the two.
Exactly. And they're going to protect each other for as long as Jason Garrett still has a job. I mean, obviously, I doubt he's going to retain him if they don't win a Super Bowl. I still think Jason Garrett's probably going to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year, just because Jerry's going to find a way to spin it to keep him. And that's the problem when you have – when you're an owner, it's kind of a tricky no man's land that you've got to find, because you don't want to be an owner like a Robert Pear. Let's go Grizzlies,
hands
where
off completely.
complete
Not
hands
even
off.
in
We
the
never
city.
see you.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason we even know you own the Grizzlies is because it's on your
public
Twitter and it's
knowledge, yeah.
public knowledge. But you don't want to be a Jerry Jones where you hire people to do a job and then micromanage them to do their job, and you don't trust them to do their job, and then you overrule them decision after decision, and basically they dread being in a draft room, in a war room with you during draft day, because regardless of what they say, you're going to have the final say, because yes, you do write the checks. Yes, you do own the team, but you need to hire people and trust them to do what they do. I mean, it must be so frustrating to know that the guy, Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett, if you're a positions coach or an offensive defensive coordinator, that the guy is constantly on the back of your neck, constantly trying to micromanage you. And you're not going to win with using micromanagement. They both need to be more hands off and let the people that they hired to do the job, do the job.
I agree.
And if you feel like you have to micromanage that person to get the job done, then guess what? You hired the wrong person. You hired the wrong coach.
Yeah.
Fix it.
I don't have very nice things to say about the Cowboys. I don't have very nice things to say about the Egg Bowl. We'll get to that in a second, but I sort of want to get on this. If the Cowboys do away with Jason Garrett, where do you look next? Do you look at the college ranks? Do you look at Urban Meyer? Will Urban Meyer want to come up and take that job? That's the name that's been topping the list, especially the odds makers have said he's there. Lincoln Riley's obviously a big name.
Well, you can go over to the XFL, the Dallas XFL team, and get Bob Stoops.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Buddy.
No.
I don't
Big
think,
Game Bob?
Look,
We don't want Big Game Bob?
No.
Look, I don't think that's the worst thing I've ever heard. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to look that direction.
Well, I'm throwing it out there because it's not going to happen. Jason Garrett's going to be the coach of the Cowboys next year. Guaranteed.
Really?
Yes. That's a Drew Barrett stamp of guarantee.
How trustworthy is that stamp of guarantee from Drew Barrett?
Not very trustworthy. Most Drew Barrett guarantee stamps fall a little short.
But Urban Meyer and, of course, Lincoln Riley, the coach at Oklahoma right now, are topping the list. But now.
But if I'm the Cowboys right now, you need I don't think you go after a younger guy. I think there's been so much chaos with the Cowboys.
What do you mean? Who do you go after?
You need to go after somebody. And I don't have a name to throw out.
Urban Meyer's not young by any stretch.
I'm talking about a NFL lifer, an NFL veteran, a long-time coordinator that's been in the NFL and knows the ins and outs of the league.
I have a problem with NFL lifers. They're old school. There becomes this sort of change that they have to go through from that old school way, the early 2000s, the 90s way, to what it is now. You see nowadays we have Cliff Kingsbury coaching and doing a pretty damn good job with Kyler Murray as his quarterback. So, it's a different day in the NFL. And those NFL lifers, man, they just don't seem to change the way they should in time to be a good head coach in the league.
But at least with the NFL lifers, I think you know what you're getting. And right now, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I kind of want to know what I'm getting. I want to know what I'm getting myself into.
Well, you know what you're getting out of Jason Garrett. You know exactly what you're getting. So, knowing what you're getting is not the problem here. The problem is you want a guy who can win and actually make you a Super Bowl contender, which you have the pieces to do, but you don't have the coach to do it. You just don't. And obviously I think it has to do with Jerry being completely hands-on and having a love fest with Jason Garrett on the side that has sort of led him to keep him for so long.
And that's the thing. I mean, a team can fire any coach. They can fire any front office management. Now, but if the problem is the owner, you can't fire the owner. I mean, you can't force Jerry. Nobody can go into Jerry Jones's office today and be like, hey.
He's judge, jury, executioner on that.
You got to sell the team, man. The Cowboys just aren't going to win with you. You can't do that. And he's not going to do that.
You know, I gave it some thought because I am a Cowboys fan.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be. I gave it some thought, and I have been on the fence of like, if there's a better coach out there that's better than Jason Garrett, you go get him. But if there's not one, you just stick with Jason Garrett. But the thing is, for me, because after watching last night's game, and I only made it to like the
that was a stinker.
Early part of the third quarter, then I checked out. You know, if they do go into the route of getting in a new coach, I would love to have Mike McCarthy.
Really?
I think
you want a guy that's been around the NFL, sort of like Drew alluded to. He's not necessarily a lifer, but it's like, I don't know about Mike McCarthy. Man. He couldn't make it work with Aaron Rodgers.
It's not
coming in and trying to coach up Dak Prescott and get him right to his offense, make him fit. I don't see that.
It's not about making the adjustments within the player. It's about like making sure that when it's time to like make the right decisions at the right moment, that the decision can be made. Too many times there have been too many blunders within the season for the Cowboys. With the Patriots in that little monsoon that it was. Why is Tony Pollard back at the goal line when the ball is like coming up at the 25-yard line every single time and the ball is just constantly getting muffed? You know, why is it that everybody's talking about the slow starts and everything? So it's just small stuff that are fixable, but it's not being fixed within the game.
I think, we have a text here, and I think this is an interesting point. Look at all the winners: Bill Belichick, John Harbaugh, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, all NFL lifers. Sean McVay's a young guy, okay?
But technically an NFL lifer. I mean, as soon as he finished college, he started with the Oakland Raiders under John Gruden.
Absolutely. I'm there with you. But guess what? The Egg Bowl was last night. Right. And boy, was it an interesting Egg Bowl.
We'll get into it a little bit, but we are kind of up against break.
We're up against break.
We'll definitely get into it later on in the show into more detail. But
Mississippi State handled business 21-20 over Ole Miss, and I don't think I have to explain what happened at the end of that game. Elijah Moore decided to do the DK Metcalf dog peeing celebration and got a 15-yard penalty, backed it up. Luke Logan, the kicker, had to deal with a 15-yard penalty on the extra point, went from the 3-yard line to the 18-yard line, and they missed the extra point.
Pushed it a little.
And I can't blame him. You don't blame him. You blame Elijah Moore, number 8, for
putting him in that situation.
And also, Elijah Moore is the same guy who called a fair catch after he caught the punt last night. Like, that's bad. And also, though,
seems to be a screw loose.
There's a lot of Twitter stuff about Matt Luke. These are not Matt Luke problems. That was an Elijah Moore problem. And I don't really have good, nice words about the game. I thought it was a very poorly played game. We'll get to it a little later. But we got to get to a break. And on the other side, we're going to talk to Greg Gaston about the Tigers. Tigers take on Cincinnati in the Liberty Bowl today at 2:30
on ABC
for the chance at their first 11-win season in school history, for a chance to host a championship
next week against Cincinnati.
In school history next week against Cincinnati. But we'll get to that on the other side right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. If you need a roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and we will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. We have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for many years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies' new look, the Redbirds, the 901 FC, and the Tigers football and basketball teams, it's going to be a fun year. Thank you to Coach Norvell, Coach Hardaway, and their staffs for your dedication to your student athletes, the University of Memphis, and to fans like me who have waited forever to have both the football and basketball teams ranked at the same time. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
During the weekend at Sunrise on Jefferson, there are plenty of people that spend a long, leisurely time enjoying not just the great fresh food, but the atmosphere at Sunrise as well. But we know not everyone's weekend is the same. For some people, the weekend might be Wednesday or Thursday. That's why Sunrise leaves up the amazing Bloody Mary bar all week long. Just because your weekend is different doesn't mean you don't deserve the same joy as everyone else. So don't worry about the people around you that are going back to work. You just take on that Bloody Mary bar and see what joy you can make for yourself. Have a drink at Sunrise. At Sunrise, if you'd like.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back in. Beautiful. The time is 10:27. We're going to have Greg
Gaston. You didn't let it play. We're going to let it play.
Man, this is, what's this, Al Capone?
Al Capeasy.
Oh, my gosh, man. It's good stuff right there. They played it in the Liberty Bowl. That was a fun one.
Yeah, they released the music video yesterday. So
that was the Ole Miss game they played that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have Greg Gaston join us momentarily. Obviously, the Tigers take on Cincinnati in the Liberty Bowl today, 2:30, for a chance to win their 11th game, for a chance to
make history,
host the conference championship game, and sort of be the best team, quite frankly, that we have ever seen put on that uniform. Obviously, I got to experience a lot being a Tiger for 5 years, see a turnaround, but this is definitely way more, way higher than I thought this squad would ever be able to take. But Greg Gaston joins us now. He's the usual host of this show, as well as doing multiple gigs. He does the Tiger basketball games with ESPN3. He does the sideline reporting for the Memphis Tiger Radio Network. Greg, how are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. First of all, happy belated Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Did you have a good one?
Thank you. Yeah, it was good. We didn't have to cook and we didn't have to clean. We went over to my son's house. That was the best. We got to eat like kings. We got to see the grandkids, and then we got to go home, which was nice and not have to worry about dishes piled up.
Oh, and you probably left all the leftovers for them, or did you take them?
No, they gave us a bunch of leftovers. My son and my daughter-in-law they're an interesting couple. They're in tremendous shape. They're always working out, so they ate. They stuffed themselves on Thanksgiving, and then they didn't want any of that food around anymore. So they gave us a bunch of leftovers. So we brought them home. So we're set for the next couple of days for dinner.
Man, I'll tell you what, there's nothing better in this world than the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, opening up that fridge, just grabbing some cold turkey, putting a little salt and pepper on it, just popping it in. Oh, man, it's the best.
I heated up.
I like the cold turkey Black Friday edition better than the hot, fresh out of the oven.
Well, there's two things. One, if you're going for just like a turkey sandwich, like you said, there's nothing better than the cold turkey. I think people are missing out on that the next day, 2 days later, get that cold turkey, whatever you want to put on as far as like a little mayo or something like that, some lettuce, tomato. That's a great sandwich. But I'm with Gabe. If you're going like strictly repeat of the Thanksgiving dinner, then you have to warm it up. You got the stuff.
You got to warm it up, put it all in one. See, I like putting it all on one roll. That's my thing. I like the leftover. I like treating it that way. But Greg, as far as this game goes today, I'm curious because I've been looking all week at the defensive numbers of this Cincinnati team. Is this the best defense that the Tigers have seen to this point?
It's hard to argue, although Temple did a great job enforcing the turnovers, and they played tremendous defense. I thought USF would be better defensively with Charlie Strong. They were not. No resistance, giving up 49 to the Tigers. I'm going to have to guess, Gabe, that this is the best team, the best defense that the Tigers will face this year. Ole Miss obviously did a very good job, which was a little bit of a surprise coming off what they did last year. But when they played the Tigers, they limited the Tigers' offense. But the Tigers' offense wasn't clicking the way it is. So, but to answer your question, I think Cincinnati, the numbers will tell you, they've had some close calls here the last few weeks, but they've been able to come away with W's every single time. And that's because their defense has stepped up.
Yeah, and Desmond Ridder, their quarterback, has been definitely banged up. But the interesting factoid I saw, you'll probably be surprised by this, Drew, total defense. The Tigers are actually ranked ahead of Cincinnati in total defense.
I believe it.
As far as the NCAA goes and 1A goes, they're 42nd, and Cincinnati's down at 45. I'm not saying that Cincinnati's not a good, well-rounded defense, but in my opinion, it sort of seems like there's a overreaction to what they actually are.
Well, remember, take this into consideration. Their only loss, non-conference, happens to be to a team that is ranked number one in the country, Ohio State. So your defensive numbers will be skewed by what you gave up in that game against Ohio State. Yes, I understand it's only one game, but it's one of, to this point, 11. It's not one of 40 games, so it's going to make a difference as far as your numbers are concerned. But look, I know the Cincinnati team's been winning by the skin of their teeth, but you have to, and I know they will,
respect for them.
Take them extremely seriously. Absolutely. Don't be surprised if Cincinnati keeps the Tigers in check. But what's the question? I mean, what's the answer to that in check? Is in check 30? Is in check 20? Is in check 40? What the Tigers' offense right now is playing the best football all season long, and you could argue this 3-game stretch is the best stretch since Mike Norvell took over.
Haven't scored under 42 since October 26th at Tulsa.
Only have scored under 30 twice all year, the 15 points against Ole Miss and the 28 points against Temple. So I guess if you're Cincinnati, you're not trying to shut Memphis out because that's just not going to happen. It's way too high-powered of an offense through the air and on the ground. So if I'm Cincinnati going in this game, I'm shooting for keeping them under 30 because it seems like once the Tigers reach 30, it's over.
And specifically, you're doing two things. Luke Fickell will have these guys ball hawking. They're going to try to cause fumbles. They're going to try to get some interceptions, maybe rattle Brady White, who has not been a guy you can rattle this season, although last week he had the 2 early picks against South Florida, and he was able to turn that into what was a stunning start to the game because he had been playing so well to another solid performance. He threw a couple of touchdown passes. But can Cincinnati get him off the game by ball hawking? Number 2, will they be blitzing a lot? Luke Fickell is known at times to bring the dogs, and will he do that to try to, again, beat the Tigers and that offensive line, which has done a tremendous job. And, Gabe, I know you and I were talking about it before the season started, a couple of weeks into the season, that the new revamped offensive line, they would be the key really to this team, and all of a sudden they play tremendous football. But now against the Cincinnati team that will do some things, they'll do some stunning, will they be able to play their best football to protect Brady White? Because what Cincinnati can do to make this a real close game is to cause turnovers.
Yeah, and certainly they're sort of similar to South Florida in the fact that they're a linebacker-driven defense. Their linebackers make all the plays. They have a safety who's leading in tackles, has a few interceptions, has some sacks. Like they're not getting a lot of production necessarily out of that front four, and I think that could be a tremendous advantage come game time for that Tiger offensive front, given what they've been able to do past few weeks. But When you look at this Cincinnati offense, right, I think there's a lot of talent there. I really do believe. Michael Warren is a really good back. Desmond Ridder, he has the talent. He has the physical makeup. I think he's been banged up. Is there a way they can break out of their slump against this Memphis defense?
Memphis defense playing really well. You talked about those numbers, actually, if you look deep into the numbers, ahead of Cincinnati, which really was shocking when you said that. And Memphis' defense has played so well late. It seemed like they give up an early drive in the game, and then they settled down, whether it was at Houston, whether it was at South Florida, and they really settled down. Really, really nice job by that defense this year. But can Cincinnati's offense wake up is the question. It's possible. Ridder, like you said, he's been banged up. He's thrown 17 touchdown passes, but he could also run. And if there was one issue I think the Tigers had earlier in the year was with the multidimensional quarterback. When guys could break containment and get loose in the secondary, they can pick up big yardage. And then you have a Michael Warren, who's a really solid running back. He's netted nearly 1,000. He averages 4.8 a tote. So here's a guy who can almost get you a half a first down every time he carries the ball. So are they capable? Yes, but they're not an explosive offense. They're 29.9 points per game. Look, if Cincinnati can score 35, I bet you Luke Fickell believes in his heart of hearts that they can win this football game, that they can hold Memphis to under 35.
Do you think that they're going to not necessarily try and come out and try? They're not going to try and be explosive, but you'll see this sort of ball control. If they've been playing that style, or are they going to try to play to those sort of like everybody they have on that offensive side of the ball has the physical characteristics to be a good offense, but they have been playing that ball control style that hasn't been fun to watch the past few weeks.
It hasn't been fun to watch. It hasn't produced a lot of points. But if you want to try to go toe-to-toe with that Memphis offense, you are going to lose. You cannot change your stripes. You have to continue, if you're Cincinnati, to make it ball control, long sustained drives that result in points. There is no way you can try to all of a sudden reinvent the wheel and try to go toe-for-toe with this Tiger offense. You will lose. That's a losing proposition.
No, I completely agree. I think if you're Cincinnati, time of possession really is an important statistic to look at today, because if you try to run and gun and fling it all over the field and score quick, the Tigers are just going to do the exact same thing. So you're going to want to wear down that Memphis defense. But onto the offensive side of the ball for the Tigers, Patrick Taylor obviously had a great game last week, multi-touchdown game last week. Do you think he gets the majority of the carries this week? Is he back to 100%?
I don't think you go into this game with the way Kenny Gainwell's played all season long and you go, yeah, Patrick Taylor, because he's healthy now, will get the majority of snaps. No, I think this is a two-headed monster. I brought up that exact phrase to Mike when he joined me on the show on Wednesday, and he said, yeah, that's exactly where we are right now. We have Taylor, we have Gainwell, we have two guys that are easily capable of big things. So by no stretch of the imagination do I think that Patrick Taylor is going to get 22 carries and Gainwell is going to be less time on the field. Kenny Gainwell has been one of the pleasant surprises in all of college football,
100%.
Not only the American Conference. So you're going to see both of those guys, and to have those weapons, that gives Fickell another thing to have to worry about.
I mean, you can't overstate it enough what Kenny Gainwell has meant to this team.
Just
with
phenomenal.
Patrick Taylor. Like when Patrick Taylor went out and you saw that first game against Ole Miss, 15-10, just sort of slugfest. It was scary. I mean, the thought process was Brady's not playing his best ball. You have a sort of freshman running back coming in here, doesn't have a lot of experience, but he has been absolutely incredible. But this game, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things here, we are looking at the two probably top contenders from the group of five to get into the Cotton Bowl. Memphis, if they win, they're going to have to come again next week in the same stadium against the same team and do it again. What do you think about the makeup of this team having to possibly go do that against the Cincinnati football team?
Well, before I answer that, let me say this, and I want to reemphasize what I have said a number of times. In fact, I was squawking about it before Mike Oresco started to go on his soapbox. I think there's no question in my mind, this is my belief, and maybe it's the belief of you guys and maybe our listeners out there, maybe not. I think a two-loss American Conference champion is better this year than a one-loss Boise State Mountain West champion. I just do. Now, will the committee think so? No. They'll move Boise State ahead of of Cincinnati and let's say Memphis wins this game, they go to the championship game, and somehow they lose next week to Cincinnati. Not somehow, but they could, and they lose to Cincinnati. Cincinnati will have that loss in conference. They'll have 2 losses overall. Memphis will have 2 losses in conference, 2 losses overall. Boise State's going to roll through the Mountain West Championship, and they're going to put Boise State ahead because it's Boise State, and that's the sad thing is that you have to. Memphis has had to be perfect every single week. Now to answer your question, okay, so you lay it out on the line here because you have to win unless you get lucky, and if you lose, Navy loses. But you can't count on that. So you're going to go out there and you're going to do everything you can to win. You're not going to be holding anything back. You can't just assume unless they get out to this giant lead and Mike can go pretty conservative and save a bunch of stuff for the next time they meet Cincinnati, which would be next week. I think it's very hard to beat a team twice, but I think it's certainly capable. They're certainly capable because they will get the home field. Yep. And Mike Norvell, and you look, Gabe, you played for this team.
And that's why I bring up the question. 2017 when we played, Central Florida at their place that first game, we got killed. And then, the second time around, it becomes a lot easier to try to scheme up a team. You have 11 games of film, or 12 games of film is what Cincinnati will have after this one. You have 12 games of film. You've played them before. You know their tendencies. It's just going to be, I think it's going to be very hard for this Tiger team, to win this game twice. But I do think they have the makeup to do it.
Look, it's a perfect scenario if you can win this game comfortably and Mike can hold back some things.
Yes.
If he can hold back some things. I don't know if that'll be the case. I think this will be a fairly tight game. I was really shocked when I saw that Vegas line start at 12 and it hasn't really dipped that much. They're telling you something, and they're pretty smart in what they do. They're looking at what Memphis has done the last few weeks. They're looking at what UCLA or what Cincinnati has done the last few weeks. But I certainly think that a nice, easy win. I'm not predicting that, but if it is, then you can hold back. You can save some things.
Yeah.
And it's not out of the question. You can't go back to back, especially getting the home field. Now, if let's say Memphis backdoors their way in, they lose, Navy loses, they advance to the conference championship game, but have to play at Cincinnati. I would think that would be a much more daunting thing to go into Cincinnati and try to win.
Certainly.
Against Cincinnati in the championship game. But you got them at home, you're feeling good. And I expect if the Tigers take care of business, that the crowd next Saturday would be much bigger than what we're going to get today.
No, I completely agree just due to the fact of the implications get even more higher. You're one game away from the ultimate goal for a Group of 5 team with that New Year's Six Bowl. But going back to what you said earlier when you brought up Boise State, it seems like if there is one Group of 5 team that actually does somewhat get a benefit of a doubt and gets shown respect, it's Boise State. What more does a Memphis, a Central Florida, a Cincinnati have to do to get even on Boise State's level of respect, which is not a very high level of respect? What more do we have to do to be on the same playing field in the eyes of media members and of college football critics to be at the same level? Because I feel like we've done everything we can.
No, that's a great question, Drew. And my answer would be this. Get to the Cotton Bowl. You play a Notre Dame, you play a Florida, somebody of that ilk, and you beat them in the Cotton Bowl. And now all of a sudden, remember what Boise State did when they beat Oklahoma? Was it Oklahoma?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yes.
And they had the Statue of Liberty play, and then running back Ian Johnson went over and proposed to his fiance.
Yeah.
You beat a big time team in a big bowl game. This isn't the Gasparilla Bowl where you say where the opponent we didn't care, right? We didn't care to be there, no big deal. I guarantee you, anybody who makes the Cotton Bowl, whether it's a Group of 5 in the case of maybe Memphis or Cincinnati, or it's one of the Power 5 schools, they care about being there. You go ahead and you showcase that product, which you've done a few times already this year, but you do it in the Cotton Bowl, then all of a sudden they are taking they're looking at you. They're looking at Memphis in a different light and go, wow, this team, and then you start looking back at the last 4 or 5 years and go, wow, this Memphis team is fun to watch. They produce, and maybe all of a sudden they're in that same conversation as Boise State in teams that happen to come from the Group of 5.
Yeah, that hook and ladder and that Statue of Liberty sort of is just, I mean, when you look at Boise State's history, that is the very top of their list of iconic moments.
Yes.
But I think I would argue this with you, Drew, is UCF has probably put themselves on that pedestal as well, but they lost 3 games this year.
Yeah, but I mean, even going back to Greg's point real quick, you beat a team like that, and Central Florida did that to Auburn, but people still gave Auburn the benefit of doubt of we missed out on the CFP. Why even play?
Yeah, that's just.
So if we play a Florida, Notre Dame, or Utah,
it is what it is.
I mean, who's gonna?
You win.
Why wouldn't they give Utah or Notre Dame or Florida the same excuse that everybody gave Auburn?
Right, but I think Gabe's point, or whoever just made that point about Auburn, even though we heard, Auburn didn't care to be there, they're playing you. They didn't. UCF did get a lot of national attention, and then of course they got more attention from a negative standpoint when they declared themselves national champions.
Yes,
but
but
they were on the radar. They put themselves on the radar because of that. Boise did because of everything that went with that game, all the trickery, and then of course you play on the blue turf. They stand out from a lot of other schools. For Memphis to do that, they have to stand out. What do? You get to the Cotton Bowl and you win a game against one, especially if it's somebody like a Notre Dame.
Certainly.
It will help you moving forward. There's no question.
And also the sustained success, and that's what we've seen with Boise State through a bunch of coaches.
Absolutely.
But Greg, we appreciate you joining us. You gonna get some Black Friday shopping done before you get over on the sideline today?
Are you kidding me? I'm going to head right over to the stadium here in the next 20 minutes. You guys have fun. Thanks for holding the fort down.
All right, thanks, Greg. That was Greg Gaston at Greg Gaston on Twitter.
Greg _Gaston.
He's an underscore
He's an
guy.
underscore
Okay,
guy,
see, I wouldn't have known that. He usually hosts this show with Eli Savoie. Eli Savoie will not be back till Monday. Neither will Greg. But on the other side, we're going to talk a little Egg Bowl. And then at 11, we're inviting my brother in studio, Alex Kuhn.
And we will get an embarrassing story. I need one.
There's no embarrassing stories.
There are.
I'm not
Every family's got them.
But anyway, he's the co-host of the Todd Brommelkamp Show with Alex Kuhn. But we'll do that on the other side right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab a seat for Happy Hour. Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
For a smarter holiday home, come to the Home Depot, where right now, the Google Nest Learning Thermostat is a very smart $70 off, and save $50 on the Google Nest Hub. Adjust the thermostat from across the room at a holiday party. Get recipes from Google Hub. And right now, do it for less. Get holiday savings now on Google Nest, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only, limit 2 per customer, cannot combine with any other offer, valid through December 4th.
Put the Case IH legacy of power and efficiency to work in your hayfields and feedlot. Mid-South Ag Equipment has tough Case IH farm-all tractors that can handle a variety of chores fast. With their expert blend of engine and hydraulic power, farm-all tractors can easily tackle loading and material handling chores, as well as mowing and baling. Models range from 65 to 90 horsepower, so you're sure to find one that's perfectly powered for the jobs you do. Stop in or call 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag Equipment, your Case IH headquarters.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's #1, #2 employee. Leave a message at the... Hey, Jamie, it's me, Jamie. This is your daily pep talk. I know it's been rough going ever since people found out about your a cappella group, Mad Harmony, but you will bounce back. I mean, you're the guy always helping people find coverage options with the Name Your Price tool. It should be you giving me the pep talk. Now get out there, hit that high note, and take Mad Harmony all the way to nationals this year. Sorry, it's pitchy.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit our Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road or our East Memphis location at 5992 Knight Arnold Road. Starting this week, get 3 juicy snow crabs, 17 shrimps, 2 whole sausages, 2 corn, 2 eggs, and a large side of potatoes for only $43.99. That's right, $43.99. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab Kings is number 1. Make the right choice the first time. Make it Crab Kings. Come and devour our tasty snow crabs, king crabs, shrimp, salmon, and catfish. Enjoy Memphis' best tasting pastas with your choice of toppings. Visit our Bartlett Cordova locations at 7140 Stage Road or our East Memphis location at 5992 Knight Arnold Road. Crab Kings is open Tuesday through Sunday. For more information, Google Crab Kings Memphis or download the app Crab Kings, a Memphis original.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
All right, I'm going to go out and say it.
What are you going to say?
The Egg Bowl stunk. That was horrible football. That was terrible football, man.
I mean, it's 2 bad teams playing each other, and bad things are going to happen when you have 2 bad teams.
And then you compound it by being worse.
Here's the thing, and I don't know. I'm sure everybody, loyal listeners, was listening to the Ole Miss broadcast here on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 last night. I was up here producing the Egg Bowl, and if there was one theme throughout the entire 2-hour pregame show, was don't let emotion take control.
And it did.
Brett said it.
Richard
Cross said it. David Kellum said it. I think even, why am I forgetting my man from Learfield IMG back Evan Williamson back in the studio in Virginia probably said, don't let emotion take control of the game. I mean, the Rich Rod, the defensive coordinator, Matt Luke, everybody, there's one central theme. Don't let emotion take control of the game. Stay within the whistles. Don't do anything extra to hurt your team. It was said, if it was said once, it was said 1,000,000 times yesterday leading into that game. And it's almost the old broadcaster's curse. The more you talk about something,
it happens.
The more likely it's going to happen.
They knew exactly what was going to happen because you had Mississippi State fighting to get into a bowl this year.
Yes.
Both teams couldn't throw the ball for it's going to be a physical game. You knew that. But usually when you have a game like this, you're like, okay, it's setback football 50 years. No, it's setback football, in my opinion, to the early 2000s where you had a bunch of these spread running schemes that are outdated now.
Yes.
And that's what I watched last night. No one could really throw the ball. I guess Matt Corral came in and did a decent job. 6 for 12, 124, 1 TD, 1 INT. And he only played at the end of the game, basically. So, I mean, he came in to try to do all he could. Running the ball, I think Mississippi State took that battle. I was wrong. I thought Ole Miss had enough different people, like John Rice Plumlee, Snoop Connor, Jerry Neely. I thought they had enough different weapons to be able to run the ball better, but Kylan Hill had a night, 27 carries, 132 yards.
And you knew that's what you were going to get out of Hill.
Yeah, and I think he's
because he is the SEC leading.
He's an NFL
running back.
He's an NFL back, man. He is a really good back, and I was very impressed with what he did last night. But that game, all in all, the ending, there was 5 straight plays with a penalty on them. Mississippi State set up Ole Miss with a pass interference.
Yeah.
On the 2-yard line, first and goal.
Was trying to give them the game.
Yeah, and then
they were basically Christmas wrapping the Egg Bowl, saying, "Here's a present."
It was 21-14 Mississippi State, and then Elijah Moore catches a pass from Matt Corral for a touchdown. Good play, right? Tie the game up, right? No, he decides, okay, let me do a DK Metcalf dog peeing celebration, which got a flag the first time,
and he knew it was going to happen. I mean,
that's what goes back to your emotions. You can't let that happen in that situation. And everybody wants to say, "Oh, well, Matt Luke didn't have control." It's not a Matt Luke problem.
Not a Matt Luke
It is a complete
It's not even a Rich Rod problem, which everybody wants to burn him at the stake along with Matt Luke. That's not their problem. Like
it's an Elijah Moore problem.
Rich Rod in pregame and Matt Luke in pregame, main thing. It's an emotional game. It's a rivalry. It's for the Magnolia State. It's for the Egg Bowl. It's the Battle of the Golden Egg. We know that there's emotion. Matt Luke has not only coached in many Egg Bowls, he's played in Egg Bowls. He knows what's going to happen. He knows the emotion that's going to come out of people. And if there's anybody who can tell a player, like, hey, I've been here thousands of times, don't let emotion get in control of the game. That was the main theme. And Elijah Moore said, screw that. DK Metcalf became a more of a household name after doing that. He became
not why.
He became into Ole Miss lore doing that. I'm gonna get me a piece of that. I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna make sure people remember my name. Well, guess what, Eli? Guess what, Moore? People don't want to remember your name. They don't want to think about Elijah Moore anymore. They are sick and tired of hearing your name today because they know that regardless of, yes, he probably should have made the PAT. He should have. But you should have never you should never. Here's what I'm about to say. You should never put him in that situation. It was your fault.
Absolutely,
you put him in that situation.
We're not.
I'm not blaming the kicker.
Poor Luke Logan for missing a 38-yard extra point. He's not supposed to be in that situation.
Here's
He
the
felt
thing.
it.
If you're a D1 college kicker and it's under 40, it should be a chip shot. I'm just gonna say it. It should be.
It is what it is, man. But on the other side, we're gonna have my brother, Alex Kuhn, co-host of the Todd Brommelkamp Show with Alex Kuhn. We're going to have him next to talk college football, a little Big Ten. We're going to get a little bit of everything, college football, playoff rankings. But don't touch the dial. Right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Just in time for the holidays, select Craftsman tools are now available at Napa. Celebrate with a Craftsman 20-volt cordless impact wrench kit for just $149.99. It's the perfect gift for everyone in your list, even you. So get great savings on select Craftsman tools, now available at your local Napa store. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa Know-How.
Napa Know-How.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer ends 12/31/19.
No matter what's your past credit, no matter how much you owe on your trade, no matter if you tried to buy at another dealer and were turned down, Sunrise Buick GMC can get you financed. There's never been a better time to trade. Sunrise has hundreds of new vehicles and over $5 million in used car inventory, specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000. Sunrise has the lowest prices and will not be undersold. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com. The November blowout sale going on now at all Sunrise locations. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Benswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Benswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Benswanger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswangerglass.com. Benswanger Glass.
Welcome to Moe's!
Happy Black Friday! Moe's gift card sale is happening now through Christmas Eve. Get Mo Bucks back when you buy gift cards with Moe's. Up to $40 in Mo Bucks for you, or as a stocking stuffer for your Queso is Life partner. Got to plan a holiday party? Call 901-606-3172 to book now. Packages start at $8 per person with everything included. Well, except the ugly sweaters. That's on you. Moe's bonus gift card sale now through Christmas Eve.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Gold Strike Casino and Resort in Tunica. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Ooh, okay. What's this, Sting?
Yeah, this Police, man.
Who is this?
The Police.
The Police? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Didn't, Sting do, a cover to it?
I don't know.
They did.
But this is the creepiest song of all time.
I'll be
just so you
watching
know. Every step you take. Every move you make. Guess what, girl? I'm watching.
But welcome back. Welcome back. The time is 11 o'clock on the dot on this beautiful Black Friday. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving out there. I know I did. I was hanging out with my good friend and brother, Alex Kuhn, the co-host of the Todd Brommelkamp show with Alex Kuhn. Also, we have a podcast, me and him together. We talk college football, NFL football. It's called the TKT Podcast. Alex, what's happening?
Not a lot. I like the setup in here.
Really?
I love it.
We just switched
decorated
it
it myself. I appreciate it.
We switched it up
Well
pretty
done.
recently.
Hey.
We switched it up pretty recently. It used to be where if you were on the other side of this glass here, you couldn't see really.
Yeah,
You
these
couldn't
guys.
see
There's
the
the
host?
monitors were here.
And
okay.
the table like this, it was this way. It was just. I mean, it worked, but I like the feng shui.
I was going to use that word, but you used it.
Thank
so.
you.
The feng shui. The feng shui. We're going to the game later, Al. What's the thought? What's the original thoughts here? I want to hear from both of you guys. Original thoughts here: Cincinnati, Memphis. I think the spread's 9 at this point. Where are we at? Because I really think the Tigers, the way they're playing offensively, is going to lend itself to a baseline of 28, 35
Yeah,
points?
how is Cincinnati going to stop this offense?
I don't know.
I understand that there's this idea out there that Matt Luke has instilled this dominant defense. They're solid. They're going to make Memphis earn it. But this offense right now, it is so unbelievable how much more talent they have than pretty much everybody else in that conference. Even Temple, I thought in that game, even though Brady got off to a rough start and turned the ball over.
Second half,
the athletes showed up. Against Navy it happened. Against SMU it happened. There's too much speed. There's too much talent at the skill positions right now for anybody in the AAC to keep them under 30 points.
Does it surprise you that total defense-wise, Tigers are actually ahead of Cincinnati on the national scale, which okay. I'm saying that could be a misleading statistic. I'll say that much. But at the same time, I'm not so convinced that this Cincinnati defense, who gave up 43 to ECU at one point this season, is really as good as they're being cracked out to be.
I don't think they are either. And here's what I'll say about the Memphis defense. I don't think that the Memphis defense gets enough credit for what they've done this year. Because I've followed this team since the turnaround, Gabe. Your freshman year, your redshirt freshman year. And there was always this thought, you've had some great teams, but there was always this thought that nothing ever quite fully came together. Like in 2014, you had your offense, which was a work in progress, second year under Paxton, and there were some good players, solid players, 10-win season. You guys were good, not great offensively, but that defense was outstanding. Tank Jakes, Terry Redden, Bobby McCain. And then that next year, the offense took off and the defense took a step back. And then the defense took a steady nosedive.
And then we started to talk about the defense, not as a good defense, but as a turnover defense. It was word that was thrown out all the time was it's a very opportunistic defense that they're going to give up big plays. They're going to get scored on. But it always felt like when the time came that we needed a stop or needed a turnover, they always somehow seemed to perform. And through those years where we were talking about them being an opportunistic defense, it bit you in the butt more times than none because you can't rely on a timely turnover.
Think about all the losses that they had in like 2016, 2017. The defense would give up 45-plus points. Yeah. And I always felt like you correct me if I'm wrong.
Don't ask me because look, I'm not trying to trash anybody. No. I think there was a lot of talent on those defenses.
But think about this. You guys always felt like you had to score
stressful.
40 points.
That's what I was about to get
and
to.
Uptight, and you'd force things and you'd turn the ball over in certain games. That Western Kentucky game in the Boca Raton Bowl.
59-35, something like you win. You score 35 points at times. You would expect to at least be in the game, not losing by 20. But that I will say, and I'm not trying to trash anybody. I thought there was talent on those defenses. I loved the coaching. Those coaches have been elsewhere. There's people at Georgia. There's people at Bama. But I will say this. Being an offense on those teams was so stressful. I mean, it was horrible. But you had to score 50 points if you wanted a chance to win the game at times.
And that brings me to my final point in all of this. This defense has given the offense confidence. They don't feel like every single time they step on the field, they have to get in the end zone. Now, they do more times than not because they are that much better than everybody else in this conference from a talent standpoint. But watching this team play, it's like, okay, you expect, the defense is going to give up some yardage and some points early. They have, but they're going to lock down, and Adam Fuller is going to make some adjustments. And the offense will get going. It gives them some slack.
And that's been the main difference in Adam Fuller's defenses than defensive coordinators in the past is that they're able to make in-game adjustments better. I don't think I've seen a Tiger defense be able to make as many in-game adjustments in the last 10 years, let alone just the last 5, 6 where we've been going on this run to where we come into the game with a plan. Right? And it seemed like through all those years, we had to stick to that plan, especially Mike Norvell's first couple years on both sides of the ball. He had a good plan going in. It might not work, but he's going to stick to it all game. This year, on both sides of the ball, and especially on the defense, in-game adjustments have just been out the frame.
Good. Second half adjustments have been great. And that's where he's made his money. Did it in the Navy game, did it in the Houston game, and it was really good from then on. But I think the key to this team's success so far this year, especially the back half of the season, Brady White has come along.
Oh, absolutely.
A ridiculous amount. Like, I mean, we on our podcast, the TKT podcast, you can get it on Apple Podcast. You see, I have to get a little plug in. But we talked early in the season that he may have been a limiting factor. But at this point, you look at everybody that is around him and his ability to get the ball to his playmakers has been unmatched the back half of the season.
I was legitimately concerned that was going to be
the
downfall of this offense. They needed a quarterback that could get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. That's all they needed. And last year they didn't have it at times. And the beginning of this year they didn't have it at times. And it was just such a run-heavy offense last year. What was it? 60% of the time they're handing the ball off to Darrell Henderson or Tony Pollard or.
And I mean, technically, we still are a run heavy. We actually do run the ball more than we throw, but it's not as big of a margin as it has been.
And the accuracy and the ball placement and the timing that he's throwing with, the confidence that that's the only thing. The confidence. You see him out there. You see his body language. He knows what he's doing. Exactly. And he's confident in what he's doing, and that makes all the difference.
He's about a full 2 years into this system. He gets it. Whereas last year, he probably had the same routes, probably had the same thing going on, but didn't have the confidence to push it downfield to Cox. He didn't have the confidence to push it downfield to Antonio.
And last year, especially at the end of the season, we saw Mike Norvell kind of simplify his offense around Brady White, basically changing it to
taking him out at times.
And changing it to a one-read type of offense. Basically, all right, we're going to have a short route on the outside, long route in the slot. You're reading the corner. What's the corner going to do? Is he dropping back in coverage or is he on man? All right, if he drops in man, hit the long ball. If he drops back in the
long ball was not existent a year ago.
In the zone, hit the short. I mean, it was really simple, high school type of reads where you tell your quarterback, all right, look at the defense when you go up. Pick a left or pick right. Read the corner, go off of that. It's simplified.
The Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I mean,
the Ole Miss game.
Last year, that downfield passing, as much as we want to, be nice to Brady at this point because of how good he has been, it was not existent a season ago.
Here's what I will say. The SMU game, to me, was the point where I think the rest of the AAC and the defensive coordinators looked and they said,
oh, God,
we have no chance.
Yeah.
Because what did SMU do? They keyed on Kenny Gainwell. By the way, he's been one of the best running backs in the country. Everything that he can do, he he's probably better than Darrell Henderson, and it's not necessarily by a small margin.
Yeah.
Everything that he can do, it's
crazy.
ridiculous. But they keyed on him, and they tried to take him away. Now, it didn't necessarily work. He still had, 80 yards, but they limited him for the first time this year. And Antonio Gibson goes for 250 all-purpose yards.
No.
Line him,
more than that.
300.
386.
250 yards of offense.
Yeah, offense and the
250
return
yards
game.
of offense. And at that point, I can see defensive coordinators throwing paper in the air. Like, what are we
There's
supposed
too much.
to do?
There's too much that you can't key off of. You can't have that game plan of, all right, we're not going to let him beat us. He's got to beat us. Wait, no, we can't let him beat us. No, he's got to beat. Wait, no, we can't let him beat us. Like, everybody can beat us.
Everybody.
But thought process today. Cincinnati coming into the Liberty Bowl. It's going to be an emotional game. It's senior day. Will it be close, or do you think the Tigers can get to the point where they cover that 9?
I think they're going to cover it. It's just going to be late.
Yeah, because their starts have been pretty dreadful.
Their starts have been slow.
I can't lie.
I'm not thinking that they're going to start as poorly as they have, but Cincinnati will stick around. But once again, the athletes, the talent, have won out in every single game.
Yep.
And if go ahead and finish.
No, I was just going to say, except for Temple, we don't have to relitigate the ending to that game.
Let's not do that.
But real quick, if you're Mike Norvell today, knowing that you win this ball game, you're going to have to play Cincinnati in 8 days. Do you kind of cut the playbook in half and hide stuff?
That's an interesting thing.
You can't.
You can't. It's too big of a game.
But then you're wide open to you've shown all your cards next week.
But if you lose, you're not in the AAC championship because
true.
Navy's not going to beat Houston, or Houston's not going to beat Navy, and you have to win the conference. So the group of 5, it's the best group of 5 champion.
Yeah.
And so you have to win the conference to get into. And honestly, like the playbook thing, he varies his calls so much week to week.
What I was going to say too is, what in 11 games of film have they not shown already?
True. Their athletes are just better. If you have better athletes, it doesn't matter what you run. I think they do.
And they're a balanced offense. I mean, truthfully, they run the ball, they can pass the ball, really good in the screen game. They can do it all. College football playoff rankings came out. I believe that was Tuesday. Ohio State jumped LSU. Are you a fan? Do you think Ohio State's the best team in the country?
This is an interesting subject.
And see, because when the committee did it, I wasn't surprised, but it seemed like a scheme to get somebody else into the playoff to me, more than anything, to drop LSU to 2. It seemed as if they're trying to keep the LSU-Bama game from not being played, to me, so they could both be in the championship. That's what it seemed like to me.
This is incredibly important, though, right? Because being the number 1 seed is huge, because number 3 is going to be Clemson if they win out. If they who do they even have left on their schedule? Clemson has South Carolina and then Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
They're dangerous. They are absolutely as talented,
Clemson,
as Ohio State and LSU, with Trevor Lawrence and T. Higgins and Justin Ross and Travis Etienne. They have as much talent, pound for pound, as both of those teams, and they're lurking. They're not playing anybody.
They're down in that tall grass. They're down in that tall grass, just ready to pounce when this
just like last year.
Yeah, exactly. Because they have been a quiet team down the stretch that has been absolutely killing people in conference.
And the reason why they're so quiet is because of how bad their conference is. Nobody wants to tune in to watch Clemson beat up on this quote unquote second best team in the conference, Wake Forest, and Wake Forest. You put them in the SEC or any other Power 5 conference besides, I guess, the Pac-12, which is also down. They're middle of the pack to the bottom of the barrel.
The only time we did tune in is when they were that close contest against North Carolina. The only time we tuned in, Syracuse a couple years ago and NC State a couple years ago. The losses for Deshaun Watson, and you just write them off. Well, they don't have to take the bumps and bruises of playing in an SEC schedule or Ohio State playing in the Big Ten East, and they can cruise and just win the rest of their games. They get in, and they're ready to play in the college football playoff.
And since that North Carolina game, people have not given them – people sort of remember that. It's weird how, you have selective memory when it comes to things like
I
this.
don't even think it's selective memory because I'm just not watching.
Yeah,
I'm not watching.
But after
nobody's
that,
paying attention.
You beat Florida State 45-14. You beat Louisville 45-10.
Bad
You
team,
beat
bad team.
Boston College 59-7. You beat NC State 55-10. You
They're
beat
s-
Wake Forest 52-3.
They're starting to play.
They're
Yeah.
playing.
They're playing.
They're making it look good, like Ohio State has sort of shown that they do.
It's tough for me between Ohio State and LSU because you're just basically going on eye test versus resume.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has a better resume than LSU. Nobody's going to have a better resume than LSU. The wins, and Texas doesn't look quite as good anymore, but what is it, 5 top 10 teams that they've played and beaten
I'll say
this year?
Ohio State has a chance to at least add to a resume to make
Well,
it look really good.
But up until last week, it was they look like the best team in the country. We're not looking at their resume. And that's where things get murky. When you look at Baylor versus like Baylor and Oklahoma and Utah, those teams that are trying to sneak their way into the college football playoff versus Alabama. Because who has Alabama played?
LSU, and that's pretty much it, though.
Alabama, they've played LSU. They lost the game.
Still fifth. Still
and
right in position.
Their wins. All right, their wins. Duke, New Mexico State, South Carolina, Southern Miss, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Western Carolina. Okay?
Nothing there.
Yeah.
Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, West Virginia, TCU, Texas.
It's pretty good.
Okay? You're saying, okay, Baylor's better than Alabama. You're using the eye test, but resume-wise, Baylor's going to be, Alabama's better. Baylor's going to have a better resume than Alabama. Oklahoma's going to have a better resume than Alabama. Utah's going to have a better resume than Alabama.
Well, let me ask you, if for the CFP committee, and one thing that I would like to see them do is basically forget the eye test going into use the eye test to ultimately make your final decision, because the eye test is an important factor. But when you come out with your first couple of weeks rankings, blind resumes against AP, use AP top 25 for wins losses, your opponent's win-loss record. Use blind resumes, and I think that will set it up to where there's not a eye test bias going into the final.
That's kind of what the BCS was. That was like, all right, we're going to plug a bunch of numbers into a computer, and we're going to spit it out, and because we want computers deciding everything, and people, what do the computers know?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go back to the eye test. It's now.
It's one of those things you can't win.
No, you can't win, but also for college football, you win every time because you get people like us talking about it.
I'll say this though,
every week.
The committee, there's certain things about their system right now, and I think it's sort of a lack thereof a system more than anything. Like, for example, Oklahoma beats Baylor, jumps up one spot. Baylor beats Texas, they jump up 6. I don't understand the thought process.
They have no idea how to evaluate Big 12
That's
teams
what I'm trying to say. They
or
have no
Pac-12.
idea.
Because
it's Big 10 and SEC, and they know what they're doing with those. But outside of that, it's just it's so confusing.
The CFP is literally trying to tell me that USC at 8-4 is a top 25 program.
Yeah,
that's
I'll say that.
But that is nowhere near the truth.
Clay Helton should not be the coach there moving forward. I think he's a good coach, just not at USC. But that's another discussion.
Talent-wise, they're there
for another day.
Yeah.
But like, look at Texas this year. So I want to say Texas.
They're 6-5.
Texas had lost to Iowa State. Or no, they had lost to somebody. TCU. They lost to TCU, who was 4-4 at the time, and they dropped out of the top 25. And then the next week, they beat Kansas State, a good but like a 7-5 team, and they jumped 6 spots to 19. And then they lost to Iowa State the next week on a last-second field goal. They're right back out. Like the committee is very comfortable with the SEC and the Big Ten. Everybody else, it's like, all right, what are we looking at here? And that includes the AAC.
It's just like consistently, even though Iowa, and I think they're a top 25 team, but they lose big games early in the year. And they stay within that top 15 range.
They love
Iowa, and they love, USC. They love Oklahoma State. They love, Iowa State's in there at 7-4 right now. But as far as benefit of the doubt goes, why the hell do we keep putting this thought in people's head that Michigan has a chance to beat Ohio State?
Because they're playing well and it's at home.
So?
No, they have to do it before we believe it.
That's
Great rebuttal there. Great argument.
Exactly. It's all I have to
because
say.
they've been playing well and it's at home. And people want to see Ohio State go down. People don't necessarily like greatness, and Ohio State is great. And Ohio State played a close game last week at home against
11 points against a top 10 team. So it's like
here I got a little bit of beef, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get into a back and forth on Twitter about this.
Oh, you're talking about Chase Young?
Yeah, we're talking about Chase Young. Chase Young right now is number 2 in the Heisman voting. He's the number 2. He's the best player in the country.
Look, I'm with you. I'm with you. But the chances of him getting it over, say, if Joe Burrow flopped tomorrow,
okay,
the chances of him getting it over a Justin Fields are minimal to me.
So you're telling me that if he goes out and has 3.5 more sacks against Michigan and goes out and has 3.5 more sacks in the Big Ten championship game,
I'm saying he's deserving. I'm saying he's deserving.
He has no chance.
I'm saying he's deserving. I do not think.
I
don't think there's a way he wins.
I will go. He has no chance. It's an offensive award.
That's what it's become.
That's what they should. They should just
one
clarify.
Defensive player of all. I think.
And the last defensive guy to even get close was Ndamukong Suh.
He's at that level though.
I agree. But
Ndamukong Suh still finished like 5th in the voting.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll win, and I think I do think he's more than deserving.
But here's the thing. In all of those years, there was another close second. There was another. If somebody flopped last year, Tua gets injured in the SEC championship game. Kyler's an easy choice, right? Who's the secondary choice?
I say Justin Fields.
Justin Fields
Hurts.
last week was the only reason Penn State was in that game.
You know what I
Hurts
see? You know what I see?
Has been turning the ball over like it's his job.
You know what I see, Al? And I know he fumbled the ball, right? I see 16 for 22, 188, 2 TDs, no interceptions, and a win over number 8 Penn State.
How many fumbles?
I don't have that right here in front of me, but I'm just saying I see the stat line, and I'm telling you right now, I don't think Chase Young, no matter how good he is as a defensive player, especially as an edge rusher, is going to win the Heisman. I don't think, even if Joe Burrow, like I said, if he flops tomorrow, I could be proved wrong. I could be.
Right.
But I just don't think that a defensive player, especially a D lineman, can win the thing nowadays.
I get that. But like you said, with Justin Fields, all right, to vote Justin Fields as the Heisman winner, you have to watch Ohio State.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you have to see Chase
You have to see the fact that Chase Young was the one that won them that game against Penn State, and Justin Fields was the reason that Penn State was close.
Yeah.
It's turning the ball over. Jalen Hurts. Look at Oklahoma right now. Their last 3 games, they've won by 4 or fewer points, and they've been favored by 10 or more points in all of those games. They lost to Kansas State. They were favored by 10 or more points. Why? Jalen Hurts is doing a lot of great things, but he is fumbling. He's dropping the football at an alarming rate. If there was ever a year with a weak field, I don't think Joe Burrow is going to flop. I don't
either.
I think he's a clear cut.
And I think sitting at this point in the season, what you just said is correct. It actually is a weak field. Going into the year, we thought that this could be basically like a five-man race between Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrows, Tua Tagovailoa.
Why does everybody add the S, man? In the South, everybody adds the S to
Sam
Burrow.
Ellinger?
No, but Burrows.
When
Everyone
said
says
Texas
Burrows.
was back, yeah.
Is it Burrow? It's just Burrow, isn't it? Right?
It's Burrow,
yeah. Well,
but we thought it was going to be a race. I didn't even think Joe Burrow was in the conversation at first.
I thought he was good last year, but no, we didn't know what Joe Brady was going to do with that offense.
That's what I was going to say. Edo, and I think a lot of people can learn from Edo. I've said this a million
Swallow
times.
your pride. Bring in someone who knows what they're doing.
Simple. Very simple. And I think
we're running into that with Iowa.
I think Iowa could learn the same thing.
9-3, boring offense, good defense, but they're 9-3. So there's no incentive to.
Well, how are you going to evolve with the guy that's been there 20 years?
Exactly. That's the point.
The guy of 20 years has to say, they have to say, all right, we need to get better, but not going to happen. But there's a lot of programs.
Here's what I'll say. Justin Fields, back to this Heisman talk, and we have to get to the break here in a second. Justin Fields, 2,300 yards, 33 TDs, 1 interception. I know he's been fumbling the ball. But when you look statistically at what he does offensively for that team, how many points they've been scoring, I get Chase Young. I get it. I know how deserving he is. He might be more deserving than Justin Fields.
He is.
But Justin Fields would win it over him if push came to shove. That's my thought. Look.
Because you go back to Oh man, Charles Woodson, the only defensive player to win it. There was a lot of controversy over it. I mean, people
probably shouldn't have won it.
People thought Peyton was
Peyton probably should have won it.
Was the clear-cut favorite, and when the Heisman voters pulled the trigger on a defensive player, everybody went nuts. I mean, it was crazy. There's no way they put themselves back in that situation. Regardless of deserving.
16 and a half sacks, and he's missed two games this year.
And I brought this up. I think he's the most dominant defensive player we've seen in at least a decade.
He's the most dominant player I've seen in my entire life. I was not around for Derek Thomas, 27 sacks at Alabama. And Ndamukong Suh was great. But Chase Young, the effect that he has on football games. When he's lined up out here on the right tackle. Well, you know he's going to get to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's going to hit the quarterback. He's going to a lot of times get the sack.
Yeah,
he's better than any defensive player I've seen in my lifetime.
Number 1 overall pick. If it's not a quarterback, it would be him.
He's going to be the first non-offensive player or non-quarterback selected. And if whoever,
if the Bengals get the first,
they
got to
go
pick quarterback.
Joe Burrow. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. But we're going to get to a break here. Alex, I appreciate it, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me anytime, guys.
You can follow Alex on Twitter at AlexCoon523. See, I'm basic, too.
You're trying to get him out of here before I get a story.
There's no story.
There's got to be a story.
He's not going to tell you. You're not going to tell him. You're not going to say anything. But anyways.
I couldn't come up with one.
Oh, come on. You got to have one in your back pocket. I know if somebody came up to me and asked for an embarrassing story about my brother, I've got one in the back pocket.
But Alex is at KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. You can listen to him 4 to 7 on the Todd Brommelkamp Show with Alex Kuhn. He co-hosts that. And you can also hear us on the TKT podcast. Me and Alex do a football galore podcast. It comes out every Wednesday. And we have Instagram, Twitter, you name it. Follow us on those platforms. But we'll be right back with John Varlas. We're going to talk prep football. We are down to the semifinal and the championship round. It is something you're not going to want to miss right here on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
I'm here interviewing Macaulay Williams, CEO of Big River Distilling Company here in Memphis. Macaulay, tell us about the uniqueness of your Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye.
Well, Eli, both my products, Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye, are produced right here in Memphis, Tennessee. The Blue Note Bourbon is a premium small batch blend, minimum age of 9 years, served at 93 proof. The Riverset Rye is a straight rye whiskey, also at 93 proof. It's a great spicy, herbaceous tone. It's great in cocktails.
Where can folks find the Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye?
Both products can be found at any local liquor store here in Memphis and also at most bars and restaurants. Next time you're around the town, be sure to ask your bartender for a glass of Blue Note or Riverset.
And is there anywhere else that folks can get more information about your products?
Yeah, absolutely. At our website, BlueNoteBourbon.com or RiversetRye.com. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Blue Note Bourbon or at Riverset Rye.
All right, well, that sounds great. I can't wait to try a bottle.
Yeah, Eli, I really appreciate the support, and hopefully you and your listeners can pick up a bottle today.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials, like Monday baked chicken, Tuesday chicken fried steak, yum, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry. Let's go. You drive, I'll buy.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith and the Memphis Spunk Horns, Reba Russell and the Natchez Band. Open 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. daily. Neil's Bar and Grill,
where the fat man rocks.
Hi, folks, the Chevy Sheriff for Sunrise Chevy. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has over 500 new vehicles to choose from with interest low as 0% and rebates up to $12,000. A $5 million used car inventory specializing in late model GM certified cars and trucks under $10,000. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, it's okay. Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com or call. Come in and see us, go online, call. Any way you do it, we'll save you money at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, partner. 385 in Houston, Levy, and Collierville. Find new roads.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Welcome to Moe's! Happy Black Friday! Moe's gift card sale is happening now through Christmas Eve. Get Mo Bucks back when you buy gift cards with Moe's. Up to $40 in Mo Bucks for you, or as a stocking stuffer for your Queso is Life partner. Got to plan a holiday party? Call 901-606-3172 to book now. Packages start at $8 per person with everything included. Well, except the ugly sweaters. That's on you. Moe's bonus gift card sale, now through Christmas Eve.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Gold Strike Casino and Resort in Tunica. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back. Ooh, little George Strait. I actually, at the last break, asked if Sting sang Every Breath You Take. And Sting is the lead singer, I have been told by our great texters at 67129, that he was the lead singer of Police, of the Police.
I didn't know that. I just knew it was the Police.
See, that's just, I show my age with that one. I really do. I'm a youngin'.
We're the same age, buddy.
Well, whatever, man. It happens. It happens.
It's hard for you to pull the young card when you're at 25 when you're sitting across from a fellow 25-year-old.
You're young too, man. You didn't even know Sting was the lead singer, did you? See,
no,
so
I knew it was the Police.
I knew something you didn't know, and you knew something I didn't know.
So we covered all of our bases between our limited knowledge.
Yeah.
So we technically got it all right.
But high school playoffs are starting, or not starting tonight. What am I talking about? The semifinal and the championship rounds are coming up here in the next 2 weeks. So we invited our good buddy, John Varlas, to join us. John, how are you, sir? Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, I had a great Thanksgiving, guys, but you're making me feel really old by not knowing the difference between Sting and the Police.
Hey, look, at least we know the names at this point, man. I mean, we're fresh out of college, basically.
I know you're ahead of the curve on a lot of kids your age, but you are making me feel old. But yeah, I had a great Thanksgiving. How about you guys?
I have no complaints.
I have no complaints either. I enjoyed myself. Had some good turkey.
A little full. Still, I don't think I'll eat again until tonight, but it was a good one.
Yeah,
it was solid.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Absolutely. But you're headed to Ravenwood tonight to watch Houston and Lincoln Perry take on Ravenwood. That ought to be a fun one, huh?
I think it will be a pretty good game, guys. I really do. If I can find Ravenwood, the last time I went up there, I got desperately lost. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot better this time around. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. I was really, really impressed, and I think a lot of people around the state, maybe opened up a few eyes last week too with the way that Houston kind of handled Whitehaven in that great team, that great defense that Whitehaven had. I think putting up 27 points against a team like that is really a statement. I mean, that's a team that had not given up more than 17 points in a game all year, and Houston put 27 up on them, which in a lot of games isn't a lot, but against a team like Whitehaven, that was a heck of a performance.
Yeah, John, we've had this question come across the text line, and I have the exact same question. Why is it at Ravenwood with Houston having the better record?
Sure, yeah, I'll be glad to explain that. It's a lot of people have asked that, and it's really easy. It's just predetermined.
Okay.
When the brackets, the brackets are set for odd numbered years, the upper half of the bracket hosts in the semifinal rounds, and even numbered years, the lower half of the bracket hosts. So last year, I believe, who was it? last year Whitehaven hosted in this round, and next year in 2020, a team from Memphis will host in this round as well. It's just luck of the draw. It's unfortunate for Houston because, like you say, they are undefeated. They do have a better record, and Ravenwood's going to have a sizable home field advantage tonight, which is certainly going to play in their favor. So it's unfortunate from that respect. But yeah, it's just luck of the draw, nothing else.
Yeah, obviously this is the best Houston team probably ever when you look at the history of that football program. But Ravenwood, I'm not so familiar with. When you look at their team, who are some of their players, who are some of their guys that might go to the next level, and do you think Houston has a chance to get to this state championship and possibly win it?
Well, I do. It's going to be a really interesting game. They've got. I've been told they have 4 or 5 guys that might be that are Division I commits, division type players. They've got a really good guy on defense, a kid named Reggie Grimes, who is probably their best player. And Houston's going to have to figure out a way to block him. I mean, I think a lot of tonight's game is going to come down to Houston's offensive line play, which has been tremendous all year. I mean, Lincoln Perry and the other guys on that offense, the other skill guys will be the first to tell you, they wouldn't be nearly as successful, without that good line play that they've had all year long. So, that's going to be a key. I expect a really high scoring game, relatively high scoring game. At some point, one of the team's defenses is going to have to make plays. Houston's defense was very opportunistic against Whitehaven. They forced 4 turnovers. They intercepted a couple of passes and recovered a couple of fumbles. So they were very opportunistic. They did a great job. Whitehaven scored on its first drive of the game in the first quarter, and after that, 0 for Whitehaven. So, really good effort from the Houston defense. They're a little banged up. Hopefully they'll have some of those guys back this week so they can be at full strength, and they're going to need it. I don't expect them to obviously hold Ravenwood to 6 points. That's, too good of a team, but, they're going to have to make plays when it counts. Because I think we can expect that Houston is going to, put points on the board and move the football. I think that offense is just too good not to.
On the other side of the 6A bracket, the other semifinal matchup between Oakland and Maryville, I didn't realize how much history that these two teams have had, especially in the semifinals. It seems like whoever wins this matchup in the last 6 years is ultimately taking home the state title. How would Houston match up against either one of those teams?
Well, it would be really tough. I mean, those are both really good 2 teams, and I think the way things have shaken out, it's fair to say those are the best 2 6A teams in the state. A lot of people in that part of the state, the mid-state and the East Tennessee region will tell you that, that's the de facto, kind of state championship game this year. Maryville and Oakland, because it's just assumed by those people that whoever wins that game will then go on to be the state championship. Obviously, Ravenwood and Houston will have a lot to say about that, and obviously I don't necessarily agree with that, but you're right. The way the bracket is shaking out the last couple of years, those 2 teams have met in the semis, and both of them are really, really good teams, really strong traditional programs. I mean, when you look at, my gosh, guys, when you look at Maryville's track record, the stuff that they have been able to do in 6A football is just incredible. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but, there was a streak there not long ago where, their coaches' winning percentages were just remarkably good. I mean, we're talking like over 90%. I mean, it's just incredible what that program has been able to do year in and year out. And Oakland, Oakland same way. We saw them come in here this year when they played Germantown, and they're just a really, really good, strong football program. And I think you're right. I think regardless of whoever wins between Houston and Ravenwood and whoever wins between Maryville and Oakland, you would have to pick the Maryville-Oakland winner as a favorite in the state championship game. But, that's obviously, as you guys know, that's why they play the games. And, nothing's set in stone, especially with high school kids. It's impossible to tell.
26-0 between those 2 teams. That's good stuff. But drop down here to 3A. I know we have our Covington listener out there somewhere. They take on Pearl Cone at 7 p.m. at their place. What do you think about Covington in this matchup?
Well, I like Covington. One thing about Covington, that's definitely going to be to advantage at their stage at this stage of the playoffs. As they've been here before, they were in the state title game the last 2 years. They finished runner-ups in state the last 2 years. So they've been to this level before. The seniors on that team have this is their third go around. So experience. I expect experience. I don't expect the moment to be too big for them. Mm-hmm. What I like about Covington is they're playing defense on a really high level this year, and I think they match up well with Pearl Cone pretty well, to be honest with you. I think Pearl Cone is maybe a little bit better version of the Wooddale team that Covington just beat in the quarterfinals. They beat them 27-0 last week, ending Wooddale's season. And I think Pearl Cone is a very similar team to Wooddale. I think they've got good skill guys, good athletes, some good speed and that kind of thing. But having said that, I think Covington matches up really well with that. And as always, Covington's got that ace in the hole that they run that wing T offense. That's rarely seen. If they can get that cranked up with the defense, they kind of they're capable of playing. It could spell a long night for Pearl Cone. I don't think that. I think it'll be a really close game. But I'm going to go ahead and give Covington the slight edge in that one, just based on experience and based on that tremendous defense they have, which is really played well for the most part of the season.
Mm. And while we are sitting here at the semifinals of the state playoffs, teams are set. But is there a team out there, especially here in the Memphis area, that you're kind of going into the year and into the playoffs is that you're shocked isn't still in it?
Well, I mean, I don't, the way things played out, I'm not necessarily shocked that Whitehaven lost because, I think anybody that, watched that game would agree that, overall, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, any factors you can consider overall, you would have to say Houston is the best team, but it's still kind of surprising not to see Whitehaven and that great group of linebackers still playing. I thought maybe we would have a D2 AAA representative this year, somebody like MUS or Briarcrest in particular. I mean, Briarcrest is extremely talented team this year. I mean, they've got, at least 3 Division I players, 2 that are already committed, Reggie Neely and Jabari Small, and of course, Omari Thomas, the big lineman, who incidentally announced he's going to be officially committing on December 9th. So it'll be interesting to see where Omari ends up. But yeah, maybe that's a little surprising, but ultimately, guys, when you get to this stage in the playoffs, the pretenders and have long been separated from the contenders, and I think it's a real tribute to Houston and Covington that they're still playing, and of course, let's not forget ECS.
I was going to bring that up.
They've already qualified, and they're set for the state championship game in Division II AA on December 5th. They're set. They're going to play CPA, and they're a really, really good team as well. So, let's give credit to these 3 programs. I think, they've separated themselves this year, and I definitely think they have, earned the right to be where they are over the course of the season.
Yeah, with CPA, you don't usually see a 7-6 team, a 6-loss team in the state championship. Do you think ECS will be able to handle business pretty easily?
Well, I'll give you guys a little bit of inside football here. There was a bit of a controversy this year. Those of us who vote in the state high school football poll every week, there was a little bit of a controversy as we went through the course of the season about CPA because as you pointed out, their record is not what it was, and there was a period during the season where they were like 2-4, 2-5, whatever, and there were some folks, some CPA supporters, that also voted in the polls that were, telling the rest of us and saying, hey, guys, we need to be voting for CPA in the poll because despite their record, they're a really, really good team. Apparently they just played a brutal schedule and that, accounted for the record they have. Now, I have not seen them in person. I can't speak for how good they are. I mean, I know they played ECS in the first game of the season, and ECS has already beaten them one time this year. They beat them 30-6 in the first game of the season. So, you definitely have to take that into consideration. I think ECS is going to take a lot of confidence from that performance. I think ECS is probably a better team than they were in week one, obviously. Thankfully for ECS, it looks like everybody is finally healthy, and it looks like they're clicking on all cylinders from that Lausanne game they played 2 weeks ago. So I think ECS has to be considered the favorite, but I know CPA is still very talented, and that record is definitely deceiving. They're still a very good football team, which has played a tough schedule, and certainly will be happy to get another shot at ECS. That's for sure.
John, before we let you go, I do want to kind of transition because you're a man of all knowledge and everything preps around Memphis. Basketball is underway. Who's a surprise team, maybe not a household name when it comes to basketball here in the 901 area? Who's a surprise team out there that high school basketball fans should kind of keep an eye on?
Well, I tell you what, a team that has really gotten off to an impressive start is Central. They're 4-0, and they don't have any guys on their team that you would necessarily consider household names. There's nobody on that team in the category of a Jonathan Lawson or a Kennedy Chandler or a Musa Cisse. Nobody like that. But this is a really good balanced team that can score, that's putting a lot of points on the board, and like I said, it's off to a 4-0 start, and they've already beaten a couple of really good programs like Cordova and Bartlett en route to get to that 4-0 start. And here's a fun fact for you guys: they've only played 4 games, but they've already had 2 different guys that scored 40 or more points in a game. Tyler Bird scored 46. Against Cordova last week, and then a couple of days ago, Xavier Jubert, their big man, scored 45 against Nashville Overton. So this is a team that can score. It's well coached by John Anderson. John Anderson is a veteran coach. He's one of the older, more experienced coaches in our area, and he knows how to get the best out of a team. So Central's off to a good start, but it's going to be a fun basketball season. I mean, Lausanne with Musa Cisse and Kennedy Chandler over at Briarcrest and that crew, and Wooddale, and of course Houston has a really, really good team with Tony Madlock's son TJ and Mike Miller's son Mason and Aiden Applewhite. They're going to really be a contender in AAA. So it's going to be a fun basketball season. But yeah, we need to get through just a couple more weeks of football
before we start talking.
We will turn our radar fully onto basketball.
He is John Varlas. You can find him on Twitter at John Varlas, no underscore, nothing. He writes for the Daily Memphian. You can catch all his work over there. He will be at Ravenwood tonight to check out what Lincoln Perry and that Houston football team does. John, we really appreciate you joining us, and you should have a good weekend.
I will. You guys do the same. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and we'll talk at you soon. Take care, guys.
All right. Thanks, John.
That was John Varlas. On the other side, me and Drew are going to come back. We're going to talk a little Grizzlies, talk a little Tiger basketball. And then at 12:30, we're going to have Omari Sankofa from The Athletic. He writes for the Grizzlies, does some really good work over there. We're going to have him at 12:30. But we'll be back right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
For a smarter holiday home, come to the Home Depot, where right now, the Google Nest Learning Thermostat is a very smart $70 off, and save $50 on the Google Nest Hub. Adjust the thermostat from across the room at a holiday party. Get recipes from Google Hub. And right now, do it for less. Get holiday savings now on Google Nest, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only, limit 2 per customer, cannot combine with any other offer, valid through December 4th.
Come to Holly Chevrolet in Marion to take advantage of end-of-year savings. Right now, save over $9,400 off MSRP on the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. The all-new 2019 Chevy Silverado Double Cab LT Z71 All-Star Edition. Or get a great deal during their Black Friday sales event. Take 20% off MSRP on select 2019 Traverse, Impala, Malibu, Cruise, and more. Stop by today and check out Holly's large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs ready for you to enjoy. And And at Holly Chevrolet, it's a no-pressure, no-hassle environment. As a matter of fact, there's no Badgers. And never pay a dock fee. Find new roads at exit 14 off I-55 in Marion, just 15 minutes from downtown Memphis, and online at hollychevrolet.com.
2019 Chevy Silverado Double Cab LT C71 All-Star, stock number N3607. 20% off MSRP on select models only. All discounts, rebates, and incentives are included and applied. You must qualify and finance with GM Financial over 2005 on your original product. Prices don't include tax, tag, title, or registration. Take delivery by Louis 3019. See dealer for details.
I'm here interviewing Macaulay Williams, CEO of Big River Distilling Company here in Memphis. Macaulay, tell us about the uniqueness of your Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye.
Well, Eli, both my products, Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye, are produced right here in Memphis, Tennessee. The Blue Note Bourbon is a premium small batch blend, minimum age of 9 years, served at 93 proof. The Riverset Rye is a straight rye whiskey, also at 93 proof. It's a great spicy, herbaceous tone. It's great in cocktails.
Where can folks find the Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye?
Both products can be found at any local liquor store here in Memphis and also at most bars and restaurants. Next time you're around the town, be sure to ask your bartender for a glass of Blue Note or Riverset.
And is there anywhere else that folks can get more information about your products?
Yeah, absolutely. At our website, BlueNoteBourbon.com or RiversetRye.com. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Blue Note Bourbon or at Riverset Rye.
All right, well, that sounds great. I can't wait to try a bottle.
Yeah, Eli, I really appreciate the support, and hopefully you and your listeners can pick up a bottle today.
It's here, the sale you've been waiting for all year. It's the Edwin Watts Golf Shop Black Friday sale, happening this Friday through Sunday with incredible deals like Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, and AVX golf balls for only $39.99. Save 50% on the Wilson Cortex driver, now only $249. And half off Adidas sports golf shoes, now just $69.99. Special Black Friday deals in every department with savings on clubs, bags, shoes, balls, apparel, and more. The Edwin Watts Golf Shop Black Friday sale at our new location in the Ridgeway Trace Shopping Center. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Williams Equipment and Supply, your Bobcat loader and excavator dealer, is #1 in compact construction equipment. With the highest market share, the largest inventory of equipment, attachments, and parts, the largest compact rental fleet, and the best technicians and the most locations, Williams Equipment is the undisputed leader. Find out why more people buy, lease, and rent Bobcat equipment from Williams Equipment than any other brand.
This is Cody Bumpus, your Bobcat specialist of North Mississippi. Call me for a demonstration and a finance quote at 901-508-8739.
Bust it. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Gold Strike Casino and Resort in Tunica. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Time to knock out the last bit of this second hour. Gabe Kuhn alongside Drew Barrett. We are in the Family Leisure studio. Family Leisure's 2120 Whitten Road. Just north of I-40. Just north of I-40. But the Tigers, basketball that is, they were back in action yesterday at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And they handled business. 83-78 win against NC State.
I don't know if I'd call it handling business.
What would you call it?
I'd call it handling business for 30 minutes. And then
they were up
holding on for life the last 10.
I mean, handling business is a win.
You got a
win.
You were up by 16 or 15, 16 at the half. You get up to 20 with 16 minutes to go. And then North Carolina State goes on a nice little 7 over under, right? 13.
Yeah.
All right, then you get it back. I think you go up by 15, and then slowly but surely, North Carolina just keeps hitting shots. You keep missing. The penny starts rotating, guys, trying to find the right fit. And the North Carolina literally was down by 20, gets it back in within 2, and you hold on to win the game. And yes, I know the Tigers were quote unquote underdogs, and they were a one-loss ACC team. I get it, but the Tigers are ranked 16th in the country. And North Carolina, while they are a good team, I don't think should have been able to crawl back into that game. And that's the problem that we've seen with the Tigers, because it was like we said with Ole Miss Penn State. It was a copy and paste version of the Memphis Ole Miss game. Well, Memphis North Carolina, copy and paste of what we saw against Ole Miss. Tigers get up big, kind of relax, maybe do a little lollygagging, and let the other team fight their way back. It seems like they against good teams, not taking anything away from North Carolina State or Ole Miss, but
Wolfpack.
You have to be able to finish the team off. You got your foot on. They did,
won.
But you can't let them come back in that type of fashion. You can't keep letting teams 2 games in a row crawl their way back.
Yeah, we're certainly backed up against a break here. We'll get more to this on the other side in the first segment of the final hour of Sports 56 Middays. But they were up 55-39 at half. So I completely agree with your take. But then also
did get outscored by 11 in the second half.
Yeah, I completely agree with your take on the fact that the second half was a hold-off of sorts.
Because if you keep playing that type of game and that you let teams go on runs like that and being able to just chip away at your lead without fully responding, it's not going to work out every time. One of these times,
I agree.
The team that keeps chipping and getting at you, they're going to win the game.
Big story here, though.
And you don't want to be known as the team that gets up by 20 and loses by 2.
The big story of this game, though, had to be Malcolm Dandridge making his season debut. A lot of people, a lot of guys I saw go Tigers 247. I saw Brooks Hansen. He's a friend of the show, always on with Greg and Eli. He said he did not think he was going to get minutes. He ended up getting some. He got 7 minutes, went 2 for 4 from the free throw line, had a rebound, and got in the game. He got cleared very recently. So it's a situation where I think they're down their biggest guy, James Wiseman, lost some size, lost some defense in Lester Quinones, and decided, okay, maybe we need to bring in Malcolm Dandridge and let him play, even though he has just returned. But on the other side, we're going to get more of this, and then Grizzlies as well with Omari Sankofa. Stay tuned right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
I'm here interviewing Macaulay Williams, CEO of Big River Distilling Company here in Memphis. Macaulay, tell us about the uniqueness of your Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye.
Well, Eli, both my products, Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye, are produced right here in Memphis, Tennessee. The Blue Note Bourbon is a premium small batch blend, minimum age of 9 years, served at 93 proof. The Riverset Rye is a straight rye whiskey, also at 93 proof. It's a great spicy herbaceous tone. It's great in cocktails.
Where can folks find the Blue Note Bourbon and Riverset Rye?
Both products can be found at any local liquor store here in Memphis and also at most bars and restaurants. Next time you're around the town, be sure to ask your bartender for a glass of Blue Note or Riverset.
And is there anywhere else that folks can get more information about your products?
Yeah, absolutely. At our website, BlueNoteBourbon.com or RiversetRye.com. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Blue Note Bourbon or at Riverset Rye.
All right, well, that sounds great. I can't wait to try a bottle.
Yeah, Eli, I really appreciate the support, and hopefully you and your listeners can pick up a bottle today.
I almost never go to Central Barbecue without running into somebody I know.
That could be because you only eat at Central Barbecue.
It's because Central Barbecue is where Memphians go to get barbecue and has consistently been voted the most popular barbecue restaurant among locals.
Actually, that's really saying something.
I know. Memphis is the nation's capital of barbecue. With all the choices, people who live here go to Central Barbecue.
They do get their share of tourists.
Sure, because Central Barbecue has been mentioned on TV and in tons of national publications. You know why?
Because of the great food?
Because those TV shows and magazines look for the place where the locals go, and that, my friend, is Central Barbecue.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. If you need a roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and we will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. We have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for many years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies' new look, the Redbirds, the 901 FC, and the Tigers football and basketball teams, it's going to be a fun year. Thank you to Coach Norvell, Coach Hardaway, and their staffs for your dedication to your student athletes, the University of Memphis, and to fans like me who have waited forever to have both the football and basketball teams ranked at the same time. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells.
Funny thing about the holidays is, nothing flies by faster.
Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh.
Well, actually, the Lexus December to Remember sales event also goes by fast. That's because for a very limited time, you'll find some of our best offers on our most popular models. But don't wait. Offers end January 2nd. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Lexus of Memphis.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Pop a top on a barrel thief or sneaky pucker from 34 North Cocktails today. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Don't that feel real funky, y'all?
Glad to see our boy Johnny Harden, who will follow us up on these airwaves today at 1. He joined in on the First Bake text line. If you are out there and listening to us, if you can hear our voice today, we always invite you to come to the show and join the show. 67129 on the First Bank text line. 360-8255. If you're out of market, 901-360-8255 First Bank phone line. We'd always love to hear what you have to say. Before we left that second hour, we talked Tiger basketball. 83-78 win against NC State at Barclays Center. Drew, you sort of think that they should have been more convincing. Here's where I'm at with the whole thing.
I mean, you get up by 20 points. I mean, when you let the team crawl back. You let a team crawl back in within 2.
Well, here's the thing. You're without Lester Quinones.
I get that.
You're without James Wiseman.
I am aware.
And it's clearly a good win. It's very comforting for Tigers fans when you win a game at a neutral site with a young team.
And I'm not complaining about winning.
Down 2 of your starting 5.
I'm complaining about not finishing.
Well,
you have your foot on their neck, man. Finish it.
And they finished it. NC State, do you remember, was an attorney team last year. They held down their best scorer, C.J. Bryce, 18 points a game. You know how many he scored last night? 7. This is a team that you look at without one of their best perimeter defenders, without their inside defender, probably when he comes back will be their best scorer.
Yeah, and will dominate.
And they handled business.
They did handle business. I'm not complaining about winning. I like winning, man. I'm a winner. I like it. All right? I'm not complaining about the win, but I would hate myself for sugarcoating it and letting everything act like it was all hunky-dory when we've seen it happen not once, but twice. We've seen it in the last 2 games against very good opponents. And when you have a team on the ropes like that, you can't let them come back. And I know it's a game of runs. If you let them take a run, well, guess what? You got to get a run back. You got to be able to go on your own run. You got to be able to take the momentum back. And from about the 13-minute mark in that game to about the 1.5-minute mark when the Tigers got up by 5, the momentum was all NC State. And you've got to be able to figure out how to get that momentum back. Yes, the Tigers answered. 3-point shots were great. I mean, Tigers started off the game in the first half, I believe 6 of 7 from beyond the arc. Great. I know. I love it. I love to see the Tigers score 55 points in the first half. I love it when they go into halftime against an ACC opponent up by double digits. But I want to see it continue into the second half and be able to, if you let a team go on a 7-0 run, stop, collect your breath, go on your run again. Get your game back. Don't feel that you've already built up a big enough lead to where it's going to hold, because that's how it's looked in the last 2 contests.
I don't think that's what their thought process was. I think they're a young team. I think that they were up by a lot. I think that their 3-point shooting throughout the game was pretty good. They didn't put up as many. I thought it was a lot better. Boogie Ellis led the way, 21 points. Precious Achiuwa had 15. And then Tyler Harris, who has
played really good basketball.
3 for 3 from 3, 14 points, 3rd leading scorer yesterday. I thought he did really good off the bench. But the story
and
here,
the thing about Tyler Harris that I've also really liked, especially in the last 2 weeks of basketball, is his shot selection. During against Ole Miss and against North Carolina State, it seems that he's not just taking every shot that he possibly can. That was something we saw early in the year and pretty much all of last year. It was Tyler Harris, ball in his hand. He's going to make the shot. He's going to take the shot.
Man, to be honest.
But and he has the skills to do it. He can make those wild and crazy shots. It seems like honestly, the more off balance he is, the higher percentage the ball's going to go in. But I like Tyler Harris in the last couple of games with the shot selection. And that is also a great thing that I saw out of this game. I'm not saying that I saw anything bad. It wasn't bad. The Tigers won. They held on at the end, 1-5. I get it. But there were some things, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that it's unfixable. I'm not saying that this is how it's going to go forward. I'm just saying that's something they've got to work on, is how to and like you said, they're freshmen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen to young teams. They're going to kind of get up big and kind of fall off. All right, well, we got to address that. We can't just let that go and think, oh, well, we'll just get up big enough. And then when this happens again, it's just going to be hunky-dory and it's going to work out and we're going to win every game like that. It's not going to happen. It's going to bite you in the butt if you don't figure out how to, when you have freshmen playing in a game where your opponent has just gone on a big run and you don't figure out how to slow the game back down and get back into your own rhythm to go on your own run, it's going to bite you.
I see your point in the fact that they were up by 16 at half and only won by 5. I get it. I get that thought process. But at the same time, this is a freshman team. This is a team that, in all honesty, handled business at a neutral site.
I get it.
Neutral court.
I'm with you.
Honestly, for Memphis fans out there, that is an absolute, complete, all-around win.
Good win.
When you look at, two of their starting 5 not being there. But I think the story as far as, who they played yesterday, they went big.
Mm-hmm.
They went big. They didn't go 3 guards. They went Isaiah Maurice, Precious Achua, DJ Jeffries, Damian Ball, Boogie Ellis. And it was good to see DJ sort of get into that role, although he did not have all that great a game.
Didn't play that well. But
didn't attempt all that much. It was weird. Like he wasn't really trying to force things on the offensive end. He finished with 4 and 4. That's it. 3 turnovers. Not great. But then we finally saw, in my opinion, off the bench, a productive Lance Thomas. And I say that because I think he came off the bench. He had a few fouls, had 3 blocks, 4 rebounds. I think when you look at the grand scheme of things, especially with this lineup they put out yesterday, I think, why aren't Lance Thomas and Isaiah Maurice flip-flopped as far as Lance being in that starting role compared to Isaiah Maurice?
Well, I think with Lance Thomas, and something that I've noticed this year, and while he's gotten better at it, it seems like he's, especially down low, he's a little spasmodic. He's a little fumbly with the ball. He's shaky with the ball, and I think he's got to get that taken care of. But for Isaiah Thomas, Maurice. Isaiah Maurice, my bad. I'm sorry.
Put them both together.
I don't know. I know. I've mush mouth there for a second. But with Isaiah Maurice, here's one thing that I guess you can count it as a positive. It might sound negative, but I want you all to remember that this is a positive. I'm saying it as a positive remark. Isaiah's not going to score. He's probably not going to get a lot of rebounds. But where
are you going with this?
Isaiah's not going. He's not going to cost you something in the first 5-6 minutes that a starter would be out there. He's not going to commit dumb
foul.
He doesn't foul. He doesn't turn the ball over very much. He's not going to make a stupid play. So at least you have one guy out there that one is experience, and 2 knows that he's not going to cost you anything early.
Yeah, and I think the thought process there, Isaiah Maurice in 11 minutes, 1 foul. Lance Thomas in 15 minutes, 4 fouls. I see the thought process that Penny's using there. But Isaiah, he's very limited as far as rebounding goes. He's a stretch 5. I mean, let's just say what it is. He can shoot a 3 ball. He's not very good with his back to the basket. But obviously these are things when you have a young team, you might as well put in a senior like him to round out the lineup. I think, but more than anything, I think Alex Lomax has been that guy that has brought them calm. He's really calm. He's playing. When you look at last year, what his role within that team was, I didn't expect this year him to be a 26-minute type of guy, but he has rounded out this lineup and brought calm. Some calm to these young guys, made sure the ball gets to the right place at the right time, limits the turnovers for them, whereas, a Boogie Ellis, a Damian Ball, they're very aggressive and they turn the ball over at a fault at times. But obviously the talent for them is definitely through the roof, and I think they'll continue progressing. But Alex Lomax needs to be a staple in this lineup going forward if they want to, limit the turnovers and be the team that they're cracked out to be.
I mean, here's exactly what Alex Lomax is for the Tigers.
Alex Lomax.
I mean, that's what his Twitter thing says.
Okay.
I like to call him Alo. But that's what Alo is. And here's the prime example of why you want Alo out there with the ball in his hands. The team yesterday had 12 assists. Alo had 7 of them.
Of course.
And he's a disher. He's not a score-first person. He can score. He can drive to the basket. He can step back and shoot a bit if need to be. But with a team that has all of this talent, all this 5-star, 4-star talent, you need a distributor. You need a guy that is going to be selfless with the ball, a guy that's going to put it in the right person's hand at the right time, and that's exactly what Alex Lomax does.
The experience factor is what it is. He doesn't freak out in situations where they go full court, when people try to press him, when people pressure him. He does not freak out. He leads the team in assists, obviously. And he also, on the defensive end, while he is not a tall guy, I mean, he's under 6 foot. He's going to
get after you, though.
He's pesky, man. Like, he gets after guys to the point he has, I think he averages about a steal a game. And he makes people feel him on the defensive end, where he kind of, on the offensive end, besides the assists, he's not much of a scorer. He can't really... I think he can facilitate offense, but he's not a main scorer.
He if he needs to. I like the... I think he just has the mindset of, okay, what is my role on this team? To lead, to be a veteran leader as a sophomore, which is a little ridiculous, but that's just how young the Tigers team is. All right, I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to put the ball in the right playmaker's hands, because I know I have everybody else on the court is a big playmaker that can turn the game around with one shot or one phenomenal dunk, and I'm going to make sure I get the ball to the right person at the right time. I'm going to play scrappy defense, and I'm not going to do anything to hurt the team. And that's exactly what Alo does. He knows his role. Yeah. And I feel like he's even known his role going back to last year.
And I think that comes with the coaching he got in high school from Penny.
Yeah.
Right? And you look at some guys like DJ Jeffries, who they said there's a lot to learn, still has a lot to learn. It's like the coaching wasn't there at the high school level. Tyler Harris had that problem probably to a certain extent at Cordova. So I think, he came in and knowing his role.
Yeah, and both of those guys, both of you guys you mentioned. I mean, Tyler Harris at Cordova, the number one guy. Basically, offense rolls to Tyler Harris. DJ Jeffries down at the OB, offense runs through DJ. Now, when you have a guy like Alo, who has been in Penny's system in high school, he knew his role coming in. So therefore, it's not really a shock of whoa, I'm not the guy anymore. No. I've been the guy since I was 7. Like, I'm still the guy. Like, nah, dude, look around you. The other 14 guys in this locker room, they were also the guy.
Yeah.
And I love that about Alo, is that while he's just as talented as anybody else on this team, and I do think he can score if push comes to shove, and we really need a basket, and he's going to be there to supply that, but he knows his role.
Facilitator more than anything.
Yes.
We know that.
And one thing that I loved yesterday is Boogie Ellis. I mean, first real Boogie Ellis game that we saw. I mean, 21 points, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 7 of 11 for shooting, perfect at the free throw line. Great game for Boogie. I mean, Boogie has been off to a very slow start. This is really the first game. I think you look back at the end of the season, you go, all right, when did Boogie Ellis really start to shine? You're going to look at this game. You're not really going to look, because he hasn't done anything up to this point.
Yeah, and you look at this game, statistically against NC State, they won it at the 3-point line and rebounding. I mean, they out-rebounded NC State by 13. But from the three line, like, you thought with Lester going out, they were going to attempt less, and they did. But at the same time, it seemed more high percentage. They were taking open threes.
Because Lester hasn't gotten his shot down
yet. Yeah, and I get that. But you would think with him going out, they'd try to play more big ball, especially with the lineup they went with. They had three big dudes in there. But 8 for 12 from 3, That's 67%. I mean, these guys actually came out and shot the ball fairly well. But, yes, I agree, with your sentiments before we even started this full conversation, is that they need to find a way when they get up to not let NC State run back into the game. Because
it's a game of runs. You
at one point, it's a one-point game. It shouldn't be that ever, especially if you're up 16 points at the half.
Like I said before, you have to be able to find a way to slow everybody down and get back into your game plan. Teams are going to go on runs. It's inevitable. Basketball is a game of runs. It happens. Teams are going to go on 6-0 runs. Teams are going to go on 9-2 runs. They're possibly even going to go on 15-2 runs. All right, that's going to happen in the game of basketball. You've just got to figure out how to make adjustments and get back onto your own run, and they haven't seemed to really do that. They've kind of just been holding on for dear life.
And they got to limit turnovers.
Yes.
The bad passing is it's a free-for-all out there at times with some of the passes that Damian Ball and Boogie Ellis try to throw into pressure situations. It's ugly.
Yeah, turnovers have been.
I mean, the turnovers were bad yesterday. I mean, they had 15 turnovers to NC State 7. The fact that they got out with a 5-point win and were up by 16 at half is crazy. Considering
and a lot of their turnovers. Continue. I'm sorry.
But also defensively, I thought there was some definite bright spots. CJ Bryce has been NC State's guy. Looking into last year. I mean, this is a guy who's got some experience at this level. Has played in games like this at a neutral site. They held him to 2 for 12 shooting. 2 for 12, 7 points in 37 minutes. This is a guy who averages 18.
Yeah.
Defensively, this team is a little farther along than I thought they would be. But the turnovers did not help their case in any stretch.
No.
Because if you give them the ball in that situation, they get easy transition buckets, and that's what got them ultimately back in the game.
And with the turnovers, it's not even that NC State was trapping that well, that they were, stripping guys. Is the fact that they make untimely passes, especially around the midcourt area. They try to throw it all on the other side of the court.
They're throwing it up to the rim a little too much. They're thinking, here's the problem. When they get into games with, competition that's at least equal, they sort of treat it like they did UIC, where
Alcorn State, my guy's just that much better, that much bigger.
They treat it the same, and it's not the same. Like against Oregon, you saw the same thing.
Yeah.
They try to throw it up to the rim. That just doesn't work when you have another team with talent, right? And that's what you see. That's why their turnovers go through the roof against teams like NC State, like Oregon.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, and like we said, it is a win. Tigers sitting at 6-1, 16th in the country. Obviously got what should be 2 cakewalks. Well, I won't do that to UAB on the 7th down at UAB in the Gene Bartow Classic, which has always been a fun
Tennessee game,
fun rivalry.
Tough.
But that Tennessee game, and that's really
tough.
I don't know about Georgia. I mean, I watched with Georgia and Maui got blown out by Dayton, but Dayton, a very good team in Maui.
Really
I mean,
good.
They almost beat. Who'd they almost beat? They almost beat Michigan State.
I think
they did.
It was Kansas.
Kansas, that's it.
They almost beat last second overtime. That was an incredible shot.
Great game.
I think the guy's name slips me now, but a 3-pointer from the top. I mean, it just NBA range to tie that game up.
But Georgia doesn't really scare me that much. I think going forward, Tennessee is really the only big competition besides Wichita State at Wichita State. Once we get into conference play,
Wichita State has been a good
the
team.
Remainder of the Wiseman sentence here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've gotten to see Wichita State, but they are better than advertised. I thought,
it's a Greg Marshall team. It's going to be good.
After last year, they weren't so good last year. I mean, they
weren't that bad though.
But, I mean, they were 19, 18 win team. Nothing too special in the end of the day. But I think going down the road here, obviously Lester Quinones and James Wiseman will be back for that USF game at USF on the 12th. So I think going forward, these are going to be some tough games. I mean, you look at Tennessee, you look at Georgia, you look at Wichita State. Those are all they're winnable. but they're also very, very, very losable.
Yes, they are.
So, especially you're traveling to Knoxville, you're traveling to Wichita State to not open up conference, but your second game in conference. I just think it will be tough going up here. And once they get, the cavalry back, like Brett Norsworthy has said, this team could be able to roll down the stretch in the American Athletic Conference.
Oh, I definitely agree. And, with all the criticism that I just said about finding a way to slow down the runs, you want it to ultimately come at this point of the season when you're playing decent to mediocre non-conference opponents. So when you do get into conference play, you've been there, you've done that, we know how to address it.
Yeah, and that's why I chalk this NC State game up as a complete and total win.
Yeah,
right?
It's a win.
I think end of the
on the
day,
scoreboard and in the box score,
and figuratively, if we must here. I think being able to go win that with a young team, not necessarily on the road at a neutral site against a tournament team, that proves a lot about the makeup of these young players.
Yeah, it does.
But they'll be back in action.
At the same time, guys, like this is still Game 7 of the new season. So
I agree.
Like
yeah,
I hear the concerns, but at the same time, Kentucky, Duke, and all the other teams it's almost freshman laden.
I say they're concerns, but they're really not. I don't want to harp on it too much because
it's a learning thing.
It's a learning thing. It's not necessarily negative, but it's something that they've got to figure out how to do. And so does every other team out there. So I mean, it's not like the Tigers are really that special in this situation.
Right. But with all the mistakes, they still managed to have only one loss on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But they are back in action in December on the 3rd versus Bradley, Missouri Valley Conference team. Should talent-wise, athleticism-wise, Tigers should have it. But Bradley is always, in that conference has been a sneaky team. They've been a tournament team in the past. They've gotten to the Sweet 16 before. So you never know how that'll turn out. But moving forward here, we got to look here. Tonight, the Grizzlies are in action.
They are.
Did you know that?
Yep. Mike Conley's
another return. Last time,
2.0.
That was a good return last time. They got a nice little win. Against the Jazz at home. Mike Conley wasn't all that good. Ja was absolutely, positively incredible, but that's happening again tonight. You think they're going to replay the tribute video?
No, I doubt they replay it. You kind of, otherwise we'd be playing tribute videos for Mike Conley for the next 6 years. You do it once, you move on, and still the state. I think he still gets a standing ovation from the fans, but I doubt
I know.
I doubt it.
Clearly a joke.
Video,
clearly a joke
for Grizzlies fans. The way that the Grizzlies are playing is exactly what you want. You want, especially in the last 2 home games, last Saturday against the Lakers and then 2 days ago against the Clippers. That's exactly what you want because ultimately this team's not. All the pieces aren't there yet. You want the lottery pick, which means you want to lose, but you want to lose in the right type of fashion.
It's exactly
the exact way that they've lost to the Lakers and the Clippers. You keep it close. You show that you have something there. You show that you're one piece away. You keep the fans interested. You keep them coming back. I mean, just like
you can't sit John Moran at home. You can't.
No, you can't sit John Moran at home.
Or
definitely
Clark.
Don't do that.
You can't do that.
But Ja was phenomenal on Wednesday. I mean, he is really a superstar.
Again, 2-point game against the Lakers, who are 16-2 on the year.
1 point game against the Lakers. 2 points against the Clippers.
2 points. Oh, Clippers. 1 point against the. You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
I was at both.
Thank you. Thank you for saving me there. But tonight they tip off at 7 p.m. against the Jazz. Jazz are actually 7.5-point favorites. Last time, the Grizzlies handled business, and we're going to have to see what happens. Now we're going to talk to Omari Sankofa on the other side. He is from The Athletic, and he has a lot of scoops on the Grizzlies, does a really good job over there. But we'll be back with him right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
The doors never close 24 hours a day at Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 12 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
Can't you give me 5 more minutes?
Country music star Scotty McCreery will be at this year's AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and you want to be there too.
This is it. This is now.
The American Idol winner will perform at the President's Gala on December 30th at the Peabody and at halftime of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on December 31st. Get your tickets today by calling 795-7700. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Pop a top on a barrel fee for Sneaky Pucker from 34 North Cocktails today. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back here in the Family Leisure Studio. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And you guys can always feel free to join the show, 67129 on the First Bank text line, and 360-8255 on the First Bank phone line. We have
And don't forget, they were also... watch us at Sports 56 WHPQ on Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. We do have a few comments from the beginning of the show.
Of course you're going to.
Drew Kaiser, 55, former Memphis Tigers center.
Thanks, Drew,
comes in and saying, Gabe, I'm here. Your head is huge. You do have a big noggin.
I do have a big head. I have a noggin, man. It's hard to hold up. Like
can you actually feel your head?
So like we work as football players, you work on your neck muscles all the time.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah. So like the neck at least supports it, but I have a big noggin.
You do have a big head.
I mean, seriously. Like when they were fitting helmets when I was.
Did you have to get a special?
Oh
size?
Yeah. Oh, it's a 2X. It looked like you ever seen a Megamind?
Yeah.
It looked like that, where it's like just massive. But we are efforting Omari, I tried calling him. I mean, texted me a few minutes ago. We'll keep efforting him. We'll keep efforting.
We'll get him on here to talk.
But there is actually some football going on right now in the NCAA. We have Virginia Tech, 13-3 Virginia in the first half. Virginia Tech is threatening, though. That's an old coach of mine right there. You know I have to have some respect. Other than that, we just got some Maction going on, Maction. But as far as before we get him on the phone, what games, you look at the Iron Bowl, right?
Yeah.
what games this week intrigue you the most?
Well, I'd have to say the Iron Bowl. You look at other classic rivalries such as Clemson, South Carolina. That one really doesn't interest you. You look at clean old-fashioned hate, and down there with Georgia Tech and the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech and Georgia, if
Georgia doesn't handle business, then what are we?
I did on Tuesday when we did our Friday football forecast on Tuesday before the Thanksgiving break with Brett Norsworthy and Dave Woloshin. I actually picked Georgia Tech to cover that line because it was plus 28.5. And Georgia, while they keep winning and they look good winning, they're not scoring.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia Tech can keep within the 29 points. I think a big other than your two
I don't know about that.
real answers between the Iron Bowl and the big game with Ohio State and Michigan. The next one is another Big Ten matchup that you got to keep an eye on. Minnesota, you got to row that boat, PJ Fleck, going up against Wisconsin.
It's the fight for Paul Bunyan's axe.
Yes.
But they have a Paul Bunyan trophy, too.
That's Michigan State that has the Paul Bunyan trophy.
Okay,
Paul Bunyan's a big deal.
We have talked about these Big Ten matchups, and I think it's ridiculous. We actually have a Michigan State grad joining us right now. Omari, what is happening, my man?
Man, it's going great. I had a good holiday, and now I'm back at the grind. How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing good. Good Thanksgiving. You get some food in you?
Did get some food in me. Yeah,
nice.
I actually joined your boy Caesar and his wife. So,
do they cook? Do they cook good food? That's the question. Okay, I don't want to disrespect them or anything, but
I don't know how good of a cook Courtney is.
I see. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about. I'm worried about CJ cooking.
He said he made the turkey. I got to give him his props. It's pretty good turkey. I can't say anything bad at all.
See, I haven't even tried to cook a turkey. You have to keep it in it's 15 minutes per pound, and I just
It's
don't
too
trust
much math.
I don't trust myself.
I got a journalism degree for a reason. I don't do math.
I don't trust. But look, this Grizzlies team, they're competing. 121-119 L to the Clippers the other night. They're back in action tonight, 7 p.m. at the FedEx Forum. Mike Conley returned. I asked Drew this. You think they'll run the tribute video one more time? You think they'll run it one more?
Yeah, part two. I don't know. I guess we'll see. That's definitely rare to have your former franchise guy return to the arena twice in 2 weeks, or I guess twice in 3 weeks. It's 2 weeks ago. They should certainly do it again. Why not? I'm sure other people couldn't make the first time around. Would love to be able to pay their respects to Mike Conley. The second and final time he'll be there this season. So we will see. I don't actually know if they will, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Yeah, the first time out, they handled business. They looked good in that game. John Morant was obviously incredible. This time around, when you look at this Jazz team, obviously farther into the season, what do you think about the Grizzlies' chances to at least, stay in this game and compete to the end?
This is a weird team in that they've been competitive against teams much better than them, but then they've also lost.
Then the Warriors, they get killed.
Yeah, exactly. So I really don't know. They will be playing a Jazz team now as a day of rest, which obviously will help. They were competitive against the Clippers and Lakers in the past week, but both of those teams are coming off of back-to-backs. So I think that was certainly a factor. Plus, I highly doubt Utah went to this team, twice in the same month. They are a better team, and they should not have lost the first game. So the Grizzlies may be able to stay competitive, especially if they get good games from Jaren and Ja, which is pretty much the minimum for them to be competitive. But I do think Utah should win tonight if they fix what they didn't do well 2 weeks ago.
And Amari, the Grizzlies have been playing, I think, just right, the way that fans and everybody here in the 901 want them to. They're losing, which is good. You want them to lose. You want to get in that lottery pick. But they're losing by just a little to where you see competitive. You see how good Ja Morant is. You see the great add-in late first round of Brandon Clark. Jaren Jackson Jr. is still doing his thing. This is exactly what the Grizzlies want to see, but Are you a little worried that they're playing kind of too good down the stretch that they could win too many games?
I think it's tough because on one hand, some of the teams that were expected to get in the NBA this year have not been. So I think that the tier that the Grizzlies are in, like among the other kind of tier 3 teams, there's like a lot of teams that are within like those same amount of wins. I think the Grizzlies have 5. And, because it's a top 6 protected pick next season, I think on some level it's going to be tough to keep it anyway, given that they have to have a bottom 2 record to keep the pick. Mm-hmm. And I think at this point, unless something happens, it's hard to see this team being bottom 2 in the NBA. I think they'll be bottom 10, maybe even bottom 7, but bottom 7 isn't going to quite cut it to keep that pick. So, I think on the one hand, if you're a fan of your front office, you are encouraged to see guys like John, Brandon Clark, play like top 5 rookies, or in John's case, potential rookie of the year. Mm. And, certainly a good sign that the rebuild is off to a good start. I think a lot of people.
Yeah. Jaren Jackson has been he has been good this year. He's had his moments where people are going to attack some of his play. But lately, it's becoming more clear to me that he's just not necessarily a normal big. Like, he's a confusing piece. Is he a guy that, down the stretch, I know he's still young, but is he a guy they're going to have to sort of pound this, play big, be a big 4 or 5, try to be that player, or are they going to let him do what he did the other night and sort of let him shoot 9 threes a game and be able to play on the perimeter better than most of the guys his size?
Yeah, I think they're totally fine with him taking up to 9 threes. That's just kind of the way the NBA is trending. For bigs offensively, they're taking more and more threes. I think Karl Anthony Towns is taking 9 threes a game, and he's hitting them at a good clip. And Jaren, he's shooting about 40% on threes this season. Which obviously would put him among the elite shooting bigs in the NBA. So you definitely want to play him to his strengths, and his strength this season has been hitting that shot. I think that's fine on offense as long as defensively he can still be the type of rim protector you
and not foul.
Need. Yeah, and not foul. And his defensive numbers haven't been quite as good as they were last year, but he also had a slow start to the season. So I think that's like as the season goes on, that will continue to improve and look better. Because obviously it's a brand new team, and he hadn't played basketball since February, so I think it'll take some time for him to get into a rhythm. But yeah, as far as some shooting threes, I think he's completely fine. We saw last year that he can work inside as well, and if you have a big who's good at it, can hit threes at a high clip and also protect the rim, and you're talking about one of the best 5 or 6 bigs in the NBA. So I think that's a strategy that the Grizzlies are comfortable with, assuming that he continues to be effective inside and defensively as well.
Yep.
Amari, we're about a month and a week into the Taylor Jenkins era. What grade would you give him thus far this year?
I would give him it's hard to give him a grade at this point just because he's had a lot to deal with roster-wise, figuring out what guys fit and everything. I think I would give him like a B minus, like somewhere in that category. I think he has done, some things really well. Like, obviously, he's given Ja the keys to the offense day one. And, Ja's kind of taken that, and he's been great doing that. I think he kind of had to fill out how to best utilize Jaren, and is still figuring that out. And, and that's, like, fine. And there's experimentation stuff he has to figure out still. But, I've been especially with time as I get better players to run the scheme, it'll look even better. And it's just tough because this isn't a roster necessarily built to do what he wants to do on offense. So there's nights where it's going to look that impressive, basically.
I mean, the truth of the matter is it's hard to win games, especially like the other night against the Clippers. I know they have the deepest bench probably in the NBA, but they outscored the Grizzlies bench like 72 to 30 or 25, whatever the number was. It's tough to win games like that, and I totally see. Brandon Clark has been a very big bright spot off the bench. Is this a guy, and I know, you look at Jay Crowder, maybe may get moved by the trade deadline. Is Brandon Clark a guy down the road this season that they might try to give some starting minutes to?
Yeah, I actually talked to Taylor about that earlier this week, and they want. I don't know if that'll ever be as a starter per se, but they do want to get him more involved in the offense, and they do want to increase his minutes load. I think they were being careful with him early on because of his back, which Todd Summit doesn't sound like it's been a huge issue for him, but that's been the thought process for Jenkins in the front office. But over time, yeah, he will play more minutes, and whether that leads to him becoming a starter or not, it's tough to say. But I think there's a pretty strong argument that he should be a starter on this team. Like, he's been doing everything well, and he looks like a really good fit next to Ja. Probably a better fit next to Jaren than Valanciunas. It's a possibility, I think, especially after the trade deadline.
Yeah, but you think Jay Crowder? Do you? When you look at his situation and where this team is at, do you think he is a guy that will probably be moved and not be a Grizzly by this time next season?
It's hard for me to see him being a Grizzly this time next season. He's just a guy that, at this stage in his career.
He's taken all this sort of in stride, it seems, as far as being a piece on a rebuilding team. But I think long term for him, he's probably looking to go to a contender.
I would imagine so. He hasn't expressed that publicly. That that's what he wants to do long term going forward. He's embraced being sort of one of the veteran guys on this team. Obviously, a really young team, but going forward, I think guys who are approaching age 30 and can have some two-way impact like him, obviously have more use on teams that need guys like him and are trying to win a championship. And the Grizzlies don't need a guy like Jay Crowder just from what they're trying to do at this point either. They are better off with a young guy that they can try to develop. Like Jay's taking a lot of shots for this team just because there aren't a lot of proven shot makers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to develop, then you want guys who can develop taking those shots. Basically, I think Jay's a little bit more of a luxury on this team as far as on the court.
What's the update on Kyle Anderson's heel injury? Latest that I saw, he's now questionable for tonight's game. Are we going to see him, or is it still going to be a couple more games off?
We'll definitely see. Taylor will give an update before the game, but they do have a 4-game road trip coming up, and they have a away road back-to-back Sunday and Monday. So I would not be shocked if they decided to give them a little bit more rest going into the road trip, just because they have 3 games in 4 days. But we will find out before tonight's game.
Absolutely.
Real quick, I do have one more thing I want to ask you before we let you go. We're now in day 100 of Andre Iguodala being a Grizzly, but not really a Grizzly.
You always bring this up, Drew.
I do. I got to know the latest. And now Brian Windhorst is coming out and saying that he thinks that the Mavericks are a good option for a trade. Is that the best option you think the Grizzlies have to move Andre?
Potentially. I think one issue with the Mavericks is that they already gave up, a couple second-round picks this summer to Memphis to get Delon Wright. So I think on some level you question how many more assets they will want to give up for a guy like Iguodala, not to mention that you have to match salary. With that said, I think a big factor for Dallas that's changed since this summer is that Dallas is much better than a lot of people expected. You have Luka Doncic, who's averaging almost a 30-point triple-double. I think people expected he would be good. I don't think people expected him to become, a top 5 player to the early part of this season. So maybe their timeline and when they think they can realistically win has been accelerated, and that's probably a factor in why they're still interested in Iguodala. Now as far as like matching assets and everything, that's another story. They gave up draft picks to get Porzingis earlier this year. They gave up draft picks to get Delon Wright. How many more picks are they going to want to give up? Or how many young guys can they afford to give up? I think that's a different argument. But that's certainly interesting.
Yeah, especially for a guy with, maybe 2-3 years left in his career of at least productive ball. But he is Omari Sankofa, at Omari Sankofa on Twitter. He writes and covers the Grizzlies for The Athletic. Go follow all of his work there. Omari, we appreciate it, and you have a good weekend.
Hey, you guys have a good holiday weekend, too.
Hey, thanks, Omari.
See you, Omari. That is Omari Sankofa. On the other side, me and Drew. Drew, know what we're going to do?
What are we going to do?
We're going to pick some of the big matchups this weekend. We're going to talk about it, break them down on the other side. Right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
It's here, the sale you've been waiting for all year. It's the Edwin Watts Golf Shop Black Friday sale, happening this Friday through Sunday with incredible deals like Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, and AVX golf balls for only $39.99. Save 50% on the Wilson Cortex driver, now only $249. And half off Adidas sports golf shoes, now just $69.99. Special Black Friday deals in every department with savings on clubs, bags, shoes, balls, apparel, and more. The Edwin Watts Golf Shop Black Friday sale at our new location in the Ridgeway Trace Shopping Center. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Bria's Fashion Boutique is the worst. First, they asked me if I needed help finding anything. Just because I'm gorgeous doesn't mean I need help.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then they tell me they're having a sale. Oh, so you're assuming I'm poor. Cool.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
Also, they tried to give me the friends and family discount. I'm not your friend, so...
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Give the gift of fun with Premier Lanes Entertainment Center. Located next door to Malco Oxford Commons Cinema, the area's largest family fun center features bowling, Action Alley Arcade, birthday parties, events, and more. Book your fun today at premierlanes.com.
A good friend of mine told me about this awesome place for lunch.
Oh, yeah? What's the name?
Neil's Grill and Bar, where the fat man rocks. Everybody knows Neil.
Where's it located?
It's located in Yorkshire Square off of Quince.
And what's it like?
The best lunch place in Memphis. You know, like real mashed potatoes and gravy. Everything is made from scratch. Monday through Friday, daily lunch specials like Monday baked chicken, Tuesday chicken fried steak, yum, fried chicken livers every Wednesday, Friday Salisbury steak, barbecue chicken, or if you just want a vegetable plate, the best veggies in town.
What about the lunch price?
Meat and 2 veggies, $7.95. Meat and 3 veggies, $9.99. And veggie plate, $8.95. Big fat boy portions, man.
Man, you're making me hungry. Let's go. You drive, I'll buy.
Come hear the best live local music at Neil's. Eddie Smith and the Memphis Spunk Horns, Reba Russell and the Natchez Band. Open 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. daily. Neil's Bar and Grill,
where the fat man rocks.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Pop a top on a barrel thief or sneaky pucker from 34 North Cocktails today. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
8675-309. Why don't they say 86? Yeah, never mind. They say it the right way.
Yeah.
But anyways,
how were you supposed to say it?
Welcome back. Gabe Kuhn alongside Drew Barrett. We're in the Family Leisure Studio. We're filling in for Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie as they are handling business with their other obligations on this beautiful Black Friday. I never even brought this up. Are you a Cyber Monday or a Black Friday guy?
Neither. I'm not a shopper.
What?
I'm not a shopper.
Even, look,
there's nothing I need out there that bad.
Black Friday, and I know
I don't need to risk a
most has
arm
gone
broken.
cyber. Most has gone cyber. Even the Black Friday has sort of gone cyber. But it's like, why would I put myself in a high pressure situation to go buy a TV or something? Like
I saw a woman get her arm broken. Broken against a video game case for Grand Theft Auto one time.
Exactly my point. Like, why would we do this?
The only time I go out on stores on Black Friday is never to buy anything. It's to watch. It's to watch all you idiots out there.
Why do we consistently do this to ourselves? And then we have stampedes at Best Buy's front door.
People die.
Do people still camp out?
I think so.
People camp out for the new video games.
For the video games, the TV sales. I've got 2 TVs. I don't need a new TV. I'm just a real content person. I'm probably one of the worst people to Christmas shop for. Anytime somebody
What
asks,
do you want this year?
Nothing. I'm good. Maybe maybe some new khakis. You know, I'm a big khaki guy.
Dude, you're a big Jim Harbaugh pleated khakis guy.
I'm not. I'm now more into the fitted jean style khakis. They kind of look like
tight jeans, skinny jeans.
Yeah, I'm getting into it, man. I like
jeans.
Well, they're not skinny jeans. They're khakis that look like jeans.
It's in style
that are
now.
khakis.
You've seen the new suits where they're just real tight.
Oh yeah. Well, they're not too
like
tight, but I mean, not gonna lie, the back end looks pretty good.
You ready to talk sports? You ready to talk something that has to do with
But
sports?
the thing is, like,
no.
I'm not a shopper though. I don't like shopping. I don't like getting new. I like new stuff, but not like paying for it or really even receiving it. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't want to go spend money on myself, but I definitely don't want you to spend money on me.
Yeah, okay. I get that. Now let's make some spur of the moment picks. You down?
I'm down. Let's do it.
So today we have the Tigers taking on Cincinnati at home, 2:30, Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. The Tigers right now are favored. It opened at 12.5. I think it's 13 now. It has moved to 13. It moved to 9 and then back to 13, I believe. Where are you leaning, man? What are we thinking here?
I'm leaning towards Tigers big. I just think that
13 big.
Yeah, I'm taking the Tigers with the points minus 13.5. I think they at least win by definitely. I think it's probably about a 21-point game at this point. And I know we talked to Greg about it. Shouldn't really fault Cincinnati for
how they've
played. They're winning. Yes, they're pulling out games, but they've fluttered down the back end of the schedule, barely winning, barely getting by, giving up more points. Defense playing well, but not as well as they did in the beginning of the season. And the Tigers right now, we're just clicking. All
absolutely.
cylinders, offensively, defensively. And I definitely am going to go ahead and say we're going to be back in this situation in 8 days. Memphis versus Cincinnati in the AAC Championship at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium.
Absolutely, I think so. When you look at this game, Brandon Lane comes on the middays every week, and I could sort of agree with his sentiments on this. If Memphis is at the Liberty Bowl, you either play them or you play nothing.
Yeah.
So I think 13 points is quite a line, but when you look at Memphis, how they're rolling right now, offensively, defensively, their second halves have been pretty good. I like Memphis in this game for sure. 13 points is steep. I will say that much. But now moving on, Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State, 9.5 points.
Yeah.
Look, and I get that because I'm of the camp that Michigan's going to have to go and win this game before we give them any credit.
Penn State's the first team this year that hasn't lost by 28 or more points.
Yeah, 24
points. Yeah. So, and I just don't think that this is going to be the year that Jim Harbaugh gets over the big Ohio State obstacle that is Ohio State. Justin Fields and Chase Young are just way too good of athletes. Chase Young is going to be on Shea Patterson's back all game long. I think Ohio State wins, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say they cover. I'm going to say Ohio
here's
State
my
covers.
opinion on this. You're going to the Big House. You're going to Michigan.
Yeah.
This is a rivalry game of epic proportions. 9.5 points is a little steep. I'll say this right now. Ohio State's winning the game, but I don't think I would touch the line. The line just seems so untouchable to me.
We're picking against the line.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess if we're picking against the line, let's go Ohio State. But that is a scary one. Last one two more. Let's go Minnesota, Wisconsin. Wisconsin 3-point favorites on the road, mind you. Jonathan Taylor is incredible
at Minnesota. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs that I've ever seen.
Can Minnesota stop the run? Is the question.
I think they can, and I think if you stop the run, you've basically won the game because I don't think Wisconsin's really that diverse in what they can do. I don't think that they can really beat you through the air.
Yeah.
And Minnesota plays very well at home this year. I think PJ Fleck, they continue to row that boat, and they row it straight into the Big Ten championship.
And I'll tell you what, I am in complete agreement on this one because Tanner Morgan has been insane. They have Rashad Bateman and Tyler Johnson on the outside. Those guys are insane. So I honestly think that Minnesota wins the game outright and for sure covers. But last one, Iron Bowl here that I want to talk about, Bama Auburn. I have some interesting thoughts on this. Bama on the road, I believe, is a 3-point favorite. So, Mac Jones at quarterback is their trust. Can you trust Mac Jones to go against this Auburn defense, this ridiculous front seven, and be able to compete?
I don't know. And I thought this game was going to be close before the loss to Tua Tagovailoa. It always is, especially in Jordan Hare. It's always close. And, it's close at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Yeah. I mean, this is the rivalry of all rivalries, regardless of what you want to say about the Egg Bowl, the big game with Ohio State, Michigan. You want to talk about USC, UCLA, Texas, the Battle of Bedlam, OU, OSU, Texas, OU. This is the rivalry. And
especially
I know
Southern rivalry.
And my views are probably swayed because I am sitting here in the middle of the SEC country. I'm sure if you ask somebody from Michigan, they'll tell you I'm full of baloney. I'm gonna take Auburn. I don't know if they win outright, but I think it's really going to be a field goal game.
I agree Completely.
Especially if I'm getting 3.5.
I feel like I'm the only one that thinks Bo Nix can step up to the plate against this Alabama defense at home and be calm enough to go win a game.
In the QB
I really
matchup, I mean, he's the veteran.
Weirdly enough, yeah. But Mac Jones isn't Mac Jones? I believe he's a
junior.
He's a junior, but he's a 5-star recruit.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got
really
the talent
good
there. But it's
going to be exciting.
This is going to be a very exciting game, and I am very, very excited to watch it. But time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
One final thing today happened earlier today as Auburn alum Darren Bates played the radio call of the 2013 Kick Six while Derrick Henry, obviously a very famous Alabama alumni, was giving his interview. And if you haven't seen the video, it's hilarious. Bates is in the background with a boombox just blaring Rod Bramlin's call.
Oh.
Okay, I do have to ask, how much crap has been talked in this locker room with the rivalry this year?
Every day. I love it though. We'll see after Saturday how he feels.
How long do you think he's been playing in that and waiting for him?
I mean, this is highlight of the weekend. I don't know how he has, so we'll see after Saturday.
You have got to love it.
No, you love it. That's why it's the greatest rivalry in all of college sports.
That's an incredible call. I mean, one of the best of all time. But my one final thing for today that you need to know is, for you Cowboys fans, you're in for the long haul with Jason Garrett. Jerry Jones has come out when addressing the media yesterday. He said, quote, "This is not time for me to make a change. I'm looking ahead at another ball game. I'm looking ahead at winning 4 or 5 straight and helping write a story they will talk about.
Good luck.
How it looks like you're down and out. I mean that. That's the way I'm operating. Every decision that I make over the next month will be with an eye in mind to get us in the Super Bowl now," end quote.
Best of luck there, Jerry.
Best of luck, man. But we're out of here for the day. Johnny Radio's Happy Hours coming up on the other side. I will be producing that show.
If you see a white Nissan with the Memphis sticker in the back coming from Mount Moriah to the Liberty Bowl, just get out of my way.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's going 105 miles an hour,
get out
of the way. But for Zach Boyd, for Drew Barrett, I'm Gabe Kuhn. Everybody have a great weekend. Go Tigers.
The world's gone to hell and we're all gonna miss it a lot. All the whiskey in Lynchburg, Tennessee just couldn't hit the spot. I got $100 bill, you can keep your pills, friend, it's all going to pot.
No matter what your past credit, no matter how much you owe on your trade, no matter if you tried to buy at another deal and were turned down, Sunrise Buick GMC can get you financed. There's never been a better time to trade. Sunrise has hundreds of new vehicles and over $5 million in used car inventory, specializing in cars and trucks under $10,000.